did it.
What's going on? What's going on, Film Fam? Welcome to another episode of Let the Film Speak. I am one of your hosts, Chop. Here with my main man, Willie Jack. Willie Jack, how you living this evening, my dog?
Hey, man, I've been better, but it is Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock, and I am talking about with my dog, man. So I'm feeling good, feeling great, big dog. What's going on?
Hey, and I can only I can only imagine that you could be doing better, man, because you was actually at that game, huh? You was at that game, but man, you still weren't rocking your yellow tonight, man. That's what, or is that lime green? What
it's lime green, but you know what I'm saying? This black and yellow go through the veins, though, big dog. So I'm stuck, man. I'm down by law, man. I couldn't do nothing if I wanted to, man.
I got you, man. But hey, man, it's all right, Willie Jack. We all have days like that. We all have our seasons, man. We all have our seasons. We're gonna definitely get into that game. You was live there in full effect. But I know what we're doing today, man. It's the week 4 recap. We're gonna recap each and every game that happened in week 4 this past week. Of course, we got the Thursday night preview, and we also got another London game, Willie Jack. Got another one in Jacksonville. I don't know if they stayed there, but they play there again, man. But we'll jump into that game when the time is right. But before we do all of that, we got to go through the house rules, man. We got house rules when you walk in the building, okay? First and foremost, it's like, share, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? When you come in this building, man, check in, tap in. We got people that already tapped in before the show done started, man. So we definitely appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Become the newest member of the Film Fam. Talk to us. We talk back. And then also, don't forget to hit that notification bell, man. How else are you going to know when me and my dog Willie Jack got something going on, what we got cooking in the kitchen, and when we, trying to put some stuff together for y'all, man? You do all of that, and I guarantee you, we will not let you down, all right? Couple of announcements. Same announcements each week, man. Of course, we got to talk about the weekly picker, man. We had the weekly picker, man. And first this past week, Willie Jack, you might be able to help me with this person, man. Who is this, man? We got Swoop 808, man. Swoop 808. Who is that, man? Is that your sister? Who is that?
No, excuse me. No, that ain't my sister. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure who Swoop 808 is. Matter of fact, Swoop, if you in the building, man, or sir, ma'am, either way, let us know who you are so we can shout you. I'm not sure who that is.
Okay, I got you. But yeah, man, Swoop 808. She, I sound like a she, but it could be a he. It don't matter. I'm not even gonna put a name to it, a he or she to it. But Swoop 808, they finished first last week, man, with the most right, and then tied for second. We had a 3-way tie for second when we had. You may call me Mr. Champ. I don't know who that is, but I guarantee you
it's only one champion here, big dog. Yeah, it's only one. I ain't hard to find. Hey, I
Okay.
ain't hard to find.
I got you. Well, it sounds like you trying to move your way up there, man. Trying to move your way up the list, man. So you came in second this week, man. And then we got Pretty Tony's weekly pick'em. He tied with you, man. Hey, I don't know what's going on, what's in the water, man. But Miles is up at the top every single week, man. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm gonna have to turn it on. I think I'm gonna turn my switch on a little bit earlier this time, man. And then also Short Block is also tied for second, man. So with that being said, the next person after this, the fifth place person. So I'm not even gonna mention that person or who those people were, because I think it was a few people that tied in that spot too, man. Yeah. So overall standings on the season right now, Miles sitting at the top with a total of 46 wins. Sierra is right behind him with 43, and then in third we got Pick'em, then Stick'em at 41, man. That's my brother-in-law T, man. He is sitting at third, man. So
all right,
there go the standings. But hey, Willie Jack, I know y'all came in, second and all that stuff, but your boy moving up the ranks, man. I'm sitting in fourth, and I'm on my way up. Actually, yeah, I'm tied with Swoop in fourth, man, with Swoop 808. Mm-hmm. So, hey, before y'all know it, your boy gonna be in the mix, and y'all gonna have to really watch yourself. I'm gonna put it out there like that.
Oh no, I'm making a move now. I'm only 2 games behind you in fourth, because I came all the way from I started out pretty rough. Now I came up a couple spots.
You was getting it out the mud. That's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna keep checking it out, man, and see what happens there. Also, I thought it was about time, man. We 4 weeks in. I thought it was about time to go ahead and give everybody a little bit of update on the Let the Film Speak Fantasy Football League standings, man. And you know what's crazy? Sierra again is at the top, man. She is in the first place right now in our Let the Film Speak Fantasy Football League. She's sitting up top. Brother-in-law Tori, he's in there too, man. He's number 2. And then we got our dog Dave, man. And since we got Sierra and Dave in that top 3, man, I might as well go ahead and shout them out. Y'all see this shirt?
All right, there you go. Yeah, shout out to Sting Prince.
Shout out to Sting Prince, man. They just sent us some brand new t-shirts, man, for my son's cruise, man. He's cruising in the 6. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to y'all, man. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, that's what's up.
I do, man. No matter where y'all at, they can send y'all some shirts. Y'all need the contact info. Y'all need some stuff made. Y'all got a birthday party, anything coming up, man. Holler at us. We can get y'all in contact.
Get you in touch for sure.
And my peoples is gonna get y'all right. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that go, man. If y'all got anything coming up, hey, holler at my peoples. My people will get y'all right. All right. That's just how we get down. All right, Willie Jack. Before we jump right into it, man, and I always forget this. So you know what I did on my note sheet, Willie Jack?
Yeah.
I made it in 24 font, bold, so I wouldn't forget this, man, because this is very important, and I feel like we need to do this at the top of every show before we really jump into the meat and potatoes or everything, man. I think it's time for us to do a film fam check-in, man. Who is in the building, Willie Jack?
Oh, for sure. Hey, now them members in the building, man. First off, man, shout out to our dog, FSQC Big Chef, man. That's our dog, man. William White, resident Jets fan, JETS. He is definitely in the building. Now, he was here. He went in on time. He was early. He was in the chat like, hey, man, I'm ready to get it, man. Come on with it. Because I know he got some stuff he needs to talk about after that game we saw with the Jets at Kansas City. So shout out to you, big dog. First one in the dough today. Then next, of course, man. Come on, man. Oh, faithful, man. That's my dog, man. Day one Gang Jarrell is in the building, man. Ready to get to it, man. We appreciate you, big dog.
In the building.
Day one Gang Jarrell. Our dog, man, Miles kind of in the building, man. One more time, man. That's Prospect of Precision Paint, man. I'll probably shout him out a little later as well, but he was definitely in the building, man. Oh, I'm looking. Mom's in the building. What's going on, Mama? My sister in the building, of course. Appreciate y'all. And last but not least, our dog, co-worker in the building, man. Zach Becker, what's going on, man? He said he's here to defend his game ball, man. Who won't smoke? Here to defend his game ball. He said he got to run that thing back, man. Hey, we appreciate you, big homie, for sure.
Hey, and I'm glad you brought up the game ball, Zach, man. And I'm going to go ahead and let people know right now what the game ball consists of. That way, everybody has a chance to win the game ball. It's fair and square. This is the beginning of the show, man. But our game ball goes to the person that, is really engaged, that's commenting, that's throwing some good points at us. Because, of course, me and Willie Jack, we come with our analysis. We come with that each and every week. But we got people in this chat, man, that's just like us, that know football just like us, man. So we want to hear those good points, man. Make some points. Talk to us like my dog Willie Jack.
You know we talk back. Come on, man.
Talk back, baby. We talk back, man. So, hey, at the end of the show, we give out a game ball every single time, man. And we got to do it. We got to start doing some extra recognition for that, man. So, Zach Becker, he won the game ball last week, and he said, hey, he's here to defend his game ball, man. So that's how we getting down this evening. And now, Willie Jack, I think it's only right we go ahead and get started, man. We jump right on in. All right.
Come on with it.
And I think we should start it off with our game of the week, man. This last week, me and Willie Jack tag team.
That's right.
The game of the week, man. We had Miami going to Buffalo to take on Big Josh Allen. That's what my dog Willie Jack called him. Take on Big Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills put a spanking on them boys, man. 48-20 was the final score of this game. Willie Jack, talk to me, man. What was your thoughts on this one?
Ooh, Big Josh is back, big dog. Come on, man. Big Josh is back. Not Little Josh. I've been hearing y'all in the chat. Oh, it's Little Josh. Oh, that's Medium Josh. No, man. Big Josh is back, man. Big Josh is back. 21 for 25, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns in the air, no interceptions. Also gave me a rushing touchdown in this game as well. If y'all didn't count, 4 and 1 make 5. My dog Big Josh had five of them things on Sunday, man. Really take as the Bills really take it to the Dolphins. Stephon Diggs had a monster day as well. 6 for 120, 3 touchdowns in the air. Gabe Davis got a score as well. And then that Buffalo defense definitely showed up to play. 4 sacks on the day, 2 forced fumbles, an interception on Tua. And then most impressive, you got healthy Tyreek and Jalen Waddle on the field. Combined, Jalen and Tyreek combined for 7 catches total, 104 yards, and no touchdowns between the two of them. So definitely a monster day for that Buffalo Bills offense and definitely on that defense as well. On the other side for Tua and the Dolphins, Tua 25 for 35, 282 yards, a touchdown and a fumble loss as well as an interception. Devin A-Chain, man, after this last game, looks to be, I would imagine he's supplanting Raheem Mostert as a starting running back. 8 rushes, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mostert had a rough day, man. 7 carries for 9 yards. He lost 2 fumbles in this game as well. Yes. And so very rough day at the office for Raheem Mostert. And then Devin A-Chain, man, they're finding ways to it seems like when the more they put the ball in his hands, the better, the more good things happen. And so, like I said, definitely a rough one for Miami, especially on the heels of such a massive win not too long ago, putting 70 points on a Broncos team. But no, man, it was great ball from my guy Josh. Clean ball as well. He didn't have, and this is another thing is what that was impressive. We didn't get the, I think it's the second week now. We didn't get the massive rushing contribution. And we know sometimes when Josh has been forced to kind of play the game a little more kind of one-sided or one-dimensional, kind of that's when things can kind of get off the rails a little bit. But we still didn't see that. Stayed on time and stayed on schedule. Like I said, 21 for 25, 300 of them things, and 5 total touchdowns on the day. Oh, and shout out to Day One Gang Jarrell. He know what's going on. Hashtag Big Josh in my chat, big dog. Big Josh. There we go. I need that, man. Appreciate you, dog.
Absolutely, Willie Jack. And yes, man, he did. He came in ready to play, ready to ball. He showed up, man, and he took care of business, man. And looked to be a back and forth game at the very beginning. It was TD for TD, man. 5 touchdown drives in a row. All right, 5 touchdown drives in a row. And then, like you said, you mentioned the Mostert fumble. The Mostert fumble kind of changed the game, man. It changed the game. And then from that point on, that Bills defense started to look like what I thought they could look like against this Miami offense. All right. And I knew something told, well, of course, I mean, anybody that kind of knows football, Miami's not going to be able to keep up with 70 points a game. You know, they had a great game for sure. But I felt like the Bills defense, they were equipped to kind of slow the Miami Dolphins offense down enough to where they couldn't necessarily keep up with the Bills. Okay. And that was what they were able to do. They're disciplined. They have the speed. And they got out the Tua too. They got out the Tua, 4 sacks. They tackled very well in this particular game. Mm-hmm. And like I said, they have the smarts and the speeds, man. Bill's offense was just cooking. He gave you all the stats, you know, all the yardage and how Diggs and Allen had great games this game, man. But hey, man, when they're on, this team is hard to beat. And here's the thing, Willie Jack. Mm-hmm. These type of games played by the Bills are the same things that can also get Josh Allen a little bit caught up in a little bit too much of this, because it's like, oh man, this is how much success we have when I go to Diggs and when we had these big plays and so on and so forth, that some games, different defenses play that a little bit better. And he gets so excited. And I think he still tries to force some of those same plays when in reality, that just doesn't work every game. You know what I'm saying? You have to switch your game plan up. You got to switch what works, or maybe sometimes you got to slow it down, you know. But like I said, man, when this team is on, they came out ready to play in this game, and they showed everybody, hey, man, we still here. We've been to multiple AFC Championship games, and don't count us out just because this Miami team rolling and they putting up a lot of points. We still are a team to be reckoned with. Number one defense, too.
Good stat from my dog Miles in the comments, man. Said Miami only had 49 yards in the second half. Man, that's nuts. And especially, like I said, it's seen as explosive as that Miami offense has been essentially all year to this point. For the most part, that Patriots game. But that's an incredible stat. Looking at that offense, man, and just how stacked and loaded they really have been throughout this time. Also, man, before we move on, I think Tre'Davious White out for the season. After this game as well. And so, man, prayers for a speedy recovery for him, man. It's a terrible situation. This is a guy who early in his career, man, he was an all-pro, and then he had an injury, lost a year, lost like a year and a half, kind of came back and was still looking to kind of regain maybe the level of play that had him as an all-pro, and now he's going to unfortunately miss the rest of this season as well. So I hate to see that.
Absolutely. With you there, Willie Jack. Hey, and I almost forgot, man. And do you want to touch this one, Willie Jack? Let me know if you're going to touch it, man. If you're going to touch it, let me know before I move on to this next game, because I almost forgot.
What's that?
I almost forgot this London game. Because that's the one we didn't get a chance to go through, and I want to go through that with everybody as well, because that was a game we couldn't necessarily preview, but we definitely gonna give you the playback of that game too. But in that London game, for those who y'all probably know already, it was Atlanta versus Jacksonville in the London game, and the Jacksonville came away with the W 23-7. And to me, I feel like it was a big win for Jacksonville. Okay, they've been struggling, and they still look to be struggling a little bit on offense. The offense doesn't look to be as smooth and off and running as we thought they would be to this point. I'm not giving up on them. I still think they have a chance. But it was a lot of it was his defense in this game. And they also got after the quarterback. 4 sacks in this game, 7 QB hits. And ATL, the Atlanta team, what they can't do is bail out Ritter. All right. They got the playmakers. And if you watch that game, you see them making plays. Drake London jumping over people, catching balls. We see Bijan Robinson one-hand catching, making one-hand catches, making multiple people miss, just trying to make plays. But when you throw 2 interceptions and a fumble, those turnovers hurt. And it's only so much that your playmakers can actually do, because if you're in a situation, like you said, final score 23-7, the later it starts to get in this game, the harder it is to rely on your run game, your offensive line, and those guys like Bijan Robinson, like Willie Jack said like last week, or a couple weeks ago against the Detroit team. So it's hard for them to do that. And you can't just expect those guys to bail them out every single time. You know what I'm saying? So that was the case here. Jacksonville's offense wasn't spectacular, but they did enough to make Atlanta uncomfortable and take them out of their game, to where it was only so much they can do. But in terms of Jacksonville, man, it's the timing, it's the rhythm, protecting Trevor Lawrence. It's a lot of those things that I'm not seeing all gel together like I thought it would going into this season. But I said it all to say they came away with the W in this London game, man. So big win for them. Now they got another tough matchup. We just got on talking about the Bills. The Bills is going to be that on the way to London. So we definitely going to preview that game before the show is over today.
No, for sure. And then a couple good comments real quick before we move on, man. Co-worker, man, our dog ZB in the building, man. He said, game plan against Atlanta, you get a lead, you get a win. There's zero shot at all to come back. And I think that's a very apt description. And so I think he hit the nail head on. Ritter hasn't shown anything at all to be able to keep defenses honest. And then when that's the case, it's much more easier to handle or defend a talent like a Bijan Robinson, like a Kyle Pitts. Man, free KP. Matter of fact, man, somebody give me a free KP in the chat, man. Free Kyle Pitts. But it's much easier to defend all these weapons when the quarterback position is so inadequate. And so good comment for our reigning game ball winner, our dog ZB, man. He said he's coming back for this thing. And then our dog, man, our dog Big Chef as well in the chat. He's got a couple comments as well. Shows the QBs like a talent, our reality. Good comment for sure. And then, hold on, I thought we had one more good one. Our dog Miles had put a take on this one as well before we move on. Said the Atlanta receivers don't believe in Ritter, and you can tell in the route running effort when it comes to catching the ball. Oh man, that's that's a little spicy now because you got to remember they still need those catches and yards to get their own money as well to keep food on their own table. And so I don't know, man. I don't doubt that they lack confidence in them, but if it's a play to be made, they definitely they got to feed their own feelings. I think they still going out there to try to make plays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel that too, Willie Jack. Especially like I said, when you see some of the catches that they've made. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people believe in Ritter, and I think a lot of people can see that, but at the same time, it's like when you out there, the ball is in the air. I think guys are still trying to make plays. Now the route running, that's something I can start keeping a closer eye on, and we can kind of see how that works. But we'll see, man. We'll see how that works.
All
right.
Go ahead. I was gonna say it's a good comment by ZB, man. He said the QB and the Arthur Smith system doesn't matter as much because they want to run the ball, and that's a good point. But it's they need enough to keep defenses honest, though. You at least got to give us that much. And so and I think Ritter isn't even living up to that lower bar that is set in that style of offense. So there is a lower bar for the quarterback in that style of offense, but Ritter is struggling he's not even coming close to at least reaching that minimum threshold bar.
Or at least play turnover free football. You know what I'm saying?
That's part two, 3 turnovers in that game, exactly.
Yeah, so they have to at least be able to do that. On to this next one, Willie Jack. We had Denver. Denver go to Chicago, and Denver comes away with the first win of the season. Finally, they get off the mat, man, and they get them a W. They win this game 31-28. Willie Jack, did you see this one, man? What was your take on this one?
Yeah, man, this one, man, I felt terrible for Justin Fields, man. Justin Fields was having the game of his NFL life. And so, and then, but before, I guess, things really kind of fell apart for him later in this game. But I'm normally try to start with the winners, but I want to go over Justin Fields' day. 28 for 35, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns. He does throw the interception and loses the fumble. Both of those, of course, especially that fumble, devastating turnovers. Big day for Khalil Herbert as well. 18 for 103. Did get a receiving touchdown in this game. DJ Moore, man. This is the game. This is the guy, man. I've been saying, and Chop can tell y'all, I've been saying for a few years now, DJ Moore needs his Justin Herbert. He needs his Josh Allen. He needs a quarterback that can really put him in position to really show his talent and his skill set, and a guy that could really be one of these guys. We should talk about a DJ Moore in the same conversation as an AJ Brown. Like that's the type of talent that I really believe he has. He has a very good day. 8 for 131, and he does get a touchdown on a relatively controversial play or not. Second foot doesn't land, actually come down in bounds, but it kicks over the pylon. And I wasn't sure. I think by rule, you can hit the pylon as a runner. You don't even have to be in the end zone. If you can dive across the line or dive inside the pylon or even hit the pylon. And because you've already established yourself in bounds, it doesn't matter whether or not you actually set foot in the end zone. But as a receiver, the 2-foot rule still applies, I believe. Am I right there, Chop? And so even though he did kick the pylon with that second foot, that foot actually never touched the ground. So maybe it shouldn't have been a touchdown. But I wanted to ask you about that. What do you – yeah.
So I'm glad you mentioned it. I was actually meaning to look into that and see what the actual rule states on that because, like you said, like the first foot, you can tell he tried to get on the ground, but that one missed. It kind of went over the grass. The second foot actually lands inbounds in the end zone, and then as he's coming down, that other foot, which would now become his second foot to get on the ground.
Right there, you go. Yeah,
like you said, and I was like, I wonder if that's a rule. Like I know it didn't touch the ground, but it hit the pylon before it hit the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if that's a rule in terms of okay, both of my feet didn't get down on the ground in the end zone, but I got one down and I got one in the pylon. What's the case with that? You know, so I wanted to look into that. My initial take was it wasn't a touchdown, but with how close his foot went or slid or kind of waved over,
raised over. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was...
Maybe they felt like it was too close to call because maybe his foot could have hit a couple blades of grass or something like that. So I wasn't sure, but they gave it to him, and that's just how that's just how it goes when you're having a good day. You know what I mean? Everything just goes your way, and it looked to be that way for Justin Fields from the very beginning. No, it was that way because he did have a great day.
He started out like 20 for 21 in that game, I believe, or something.
Yeah, 20 for 21. Completed his first 16 passes. First 16 passes he completed, and that's unheard of from Fields. That's unheard of because he is not the prolific passer. He's not the guy that we look at and say, "Hey, man, he's gonna pass and he's going to do this and do that and sit in that pocket and complete passes and go read through coverages and do all that." No, we look at him as the athletic quarterback, the guy that he's gonna miss a few passes, but at any given moment he can take it 60 himself. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how we view Justin Fields in terms of him as a starting quarterback. But man, this is just a prime example of this team is gonna go when Justin Fields go. Okay, and when he looks good, this team was looking good and looked like a totally different team. But shout out to the Broncos, man. I know we've been talking about the Chicago Bears a lot, but shout out to the Broncos because they didn't stop. They kept coming. They took their time and they didn't panic. And I think that's what you get from good coaches. Say what all you want about Sean Payton and what he was supposed to do with this team. The one thing that he's doing for sure now is that offense is looking good. You know what I'm saying? And he has experience, as a solid head coach. And he also has a Super Bowl. So with that being said, you can see his experience in the way that they were able to come back and win this game, because most coaches, they panic and they go into this situation, especially in the second half. They down 28-7 in the second half.
Yeah.
So in the second half, they say, all right, you know what? We're gonna pass. No, he took his time. They ran the ball. You know what I'm saying? They passed the ball. They still kept that balance, which kept Russell Wilson free enough and have the time he needed to complete the passes when necessary, and that's what they were able to do. Then towards the end of the game, Chicago made the key mistakes that they needed to make for Broncos to come back and win this game and steal it, and that's what they did.
And then, oh, my bad, go ahead.
I was gonna say, here's what points back to Eberflus. You tie game, and they driving downfield. They get inside the 18. They get inside the 18-yard line. The other team's 18-yard line. Chicago has the ball. They're thinking about a 4th and 2. They elect to go for it with about 2 minutes left instead of go ahead and kick that go-ahead field goal. They don't get it, and guess what? Broncos come back down. They take care of business, and they end up winning this game, man. And then they seal a deal with the interception thrown by Justin Fields, man. So it was just – it went right back to terrible football. As good as it looked for that first half, they went right back to terrible football towards the end of the game, and that's why they came away with it.
No, I got you. And speaking on that point, like you said, there, the call as well. I'm glad you pointed out as well, because I was going to circle back to it. And so, and now getting your it sounds like you would have went ahead and took the points and then gave the ball back to Broncos. And my thing about it is, it was ahead of the 2-minute warning. And I want to say Denver had all of its timeouts. So they're essentially, you take the 3 and then you give this Broncos offense back the ball with 4 timeouts, so to say. And mind you, this is a Broncos offense that it kind of came to life in this second half. So in this second half, the Broncos offense have really got going. And so I can kind of see the mindset of, let's take this game in our own hands. Our offense had been so hot. Justin Fields had played so strong. And so, okay, well, let's let our offense let's ride out on the horse we rode in on, type of thing. And so, okay, let's let our offense go out there. Let's not put the game in the hands of our kicker. And then, you know what I mean? And so I'm not necessarily upset at that. I don't like the call. I don't like the read option right there. And then also, even on the read option, I believe Justin looked like he should have pulled that one. And so, if anything, I want the ball in his hands, sprint left, sprint right, or whatever. But I don't like when we've got such a dynamic weapon in Justin Fields, in that we take away one of his threats in that style of instance. Like, he needs all his weapons at his disposal in that moment, and the read option just wasn't a good enough call. So I hated the call. And then, of course, I really felt bad for Justin on the sack fumble that was returned for a touchdown. It's a blind naked bootleg. So he turns his back fully to the defense. It's a hard play action. He turns his back completely to the defense, and he's going to boot out naked. Broncos are ready right there for it. He gets his head halfway turned around. There's a defender right there. And now here is where experience will tell him going forward, hopefully, you got to eat that. You got to just take that. You got to just take that one on the chin and go down. He wants to get the ball up and out and try to salvage the play. Of course, it's a fumble. They recover and run the touchdown. So that was that was a painful, hopefully teaching moment there. And then last thing I want to do, man, when you had mentioned the rushing attack from Denver, I wanted to shout out this rookie, Jaleel McLaughlin. He only had 7 carries. He had 72 yards. He had 32 yards receiving, and also had a receiving touchdown.
He looked damn good, man.
He looked damn good.
Exactly.
And I want to shout him out, man. He's a rookie, and I can't even tell you where he came from, man. But I like to shout out those type of players. And then one more time, man, I think you had mentioned something about, or no, Zach Becker, our dog ZB. He said Marvin Mims has been looking really good to him and doesn't understand why he's not getting more time on the field. And that's a very good point as well, because he made maybe one of the plays of the games for the Broncos in that game. He's the recipient of that deep pass up the right sideline, and then I think breaks a couple tackles. And if not for that one Bears defender that is able to get him on the ground before he's able to get back up to speed, they maybe win that game right there. But it definitely puts them on the plus side of the field, and then we know they go on to win that game. And then with the poor performance the poor production we've seen from Judy and Sutton, I'm with you, ZB. It seems to me like maybe Marvin Mills needs a little more. He needs a little more clock, man. Judy and Sutton combined in this game for 6 total catches, 79 total combined yards, and 1 touchdown between them. Sutton getting in the end zone in this game. And so when your names and the stars aren't giving you that much production, and you are seeing some splash from a young guy, I'm with you. I want to see Mims get maybe a larger share of this offense, man, to see if maybe he can be the spark that they really need in that aspect.
Gotcha. Sound like a fantasy stash to me, man. It sound like a fantasy stash. If you ain't got him, might want to stash him on your bench, man. So maybe later on in the year, when you really start cooking and they start unleashing them, you already got them. You know what I'm saying? So
that's a good little fantasy nugget. And then last one, man, I know it's time to move on, but I feel like it was a good question for my dog, man. That's day one gang, Jarrell. I got you, big dog. Is it the coaching or the players for these Bears, man? Are the Bears an all-out dumpster fire at this point? You want to take that first?
Yeah, I'll take on it, man. I think it's both. And I don't think it's everybody, of course. You know what I'm saying? There's always a few that can really make this terrible. I think it's a little bit of the coaching. I think it's a lot going on. Like we talked about already with the defensive coordinator having to
leave the team
having to leave the team and resign as a defensive coordinator, man, with all that stuff going on. That's been a distraction. But then I think you just got the lack of development from Justin Fields. Now, what do you blame that on? Do you blame it on the coaches that he's been around, or do you blame that? Or is it just him? Is it just him as a player? As of right now, I see a little bit of both. And like you said, Willie Jack, with that one specific play, instead of him trying to eat it, he tries to hurry up and get the ball out, and then boom, fumble, tie game, just like that. One crucial mistake, pretty much makes your big day, your 4-touchdown day, null and void.
Because it's all for nothing now. Yeah, we should have been.
You did all that. Now, like you said, now it's for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And which should have been a very big celebratory day for him, and especially a day in which these last couple of weeks we've seen him in the news with some comments that were almost antagonistic or whatever towards his own coaching staff. There's no secret to the whisper. They're not whispers. The shouts are people who are openly against him at the quarterback and all these things. So with on the back of all of that, and as poorly as you guys have played, is leading up to come out and have that type of day, and now we can't really celebrate and champion that day the way we want to because of how it ended. And so, but as far as myself, what I'm thinking, I'm leaning more towards coaching than players because I love the young talent on this team. I really still think that Justin Fields has very special talent. It's no secret. I'm a very big believer and fan of DJ Moore and his game as well. So I think there's pieces there in place, and I'm not necessarily sold on Eberflus and whoever they've got running that offense, but so that's not my take on that one there.
Gotcha. On to the next one, Willie Jack. We got Baltimore. Baltimore went to Cleveland, man, and took on the Browns. And Baltimore, they put a whooping on them boys, man, 28-3. And here's the crazy part, Willie Jack. I'm gonna tell you what I noticed.
What's up?
The moment, both of us picked Cleveland in this game, but at the moment, we both found out Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Yeah, Dorian Kelly Robinson.
In this game, I looked in the group with the weekly pick'em, and you changed your pick to Baltimore. I did too.
Did I? I'm glad you said that because I thought I forgot to change my pick. I was gonna be pissed off. I thought I forgot.
Hey man, I went in there and I said, I know we just did the show, but dang, he changed his. I went in there. I was like, yeah. I don't blame him. If I was you, I'd go in there and change it too because if Deshaun Watson ain't starting this game, I don't think they win in this game. But yeah, either way, I think we went in there We changed this game, and like I said, we changed it instantly because we found out what Watson was out, and it was for good reason, man. This was a bad, bad outing for Thompson Robinson. Sacked 4 times, 3 interceptions, fumble. Man, it was just a rough day for him, man, and just the way he looked and how everything was, especially against this Ravens defense, man. It was it was just bad. You know what I'm saying? So I won't even spend too much time on this one. And actually not too much time on his game in general, because the Ravens to me didn't look much different than what I've seen already too. I talked about them last week and how everything like everything is still running through Lamar. I mean, and it should, but it's still looking very similar to what we've seen in the past, you know. And I know we've been asking for the weapons and things like that, but this team, Lamar Jackson had 2 more rushing touchdowns this game. You know what I'm saying? Just put that out there. So this team was looking exactly the same. I'm not seeing a lot of the flashiness. Now, they was without Odell Beckham and Rashad Bateman in this particular game. But, I mean, I still want to see a little bit more from this Ravens offense. But, hey, you can't knock them because they're putting together W's. They're putting together W's, and they take care of business against this Cleveland team in their house. So that's a big divisional win for them at this moment.
No, and just like you said, man, this one was a lopsided matchup, man. We've got 5th round. I think he went in the 5th round rookie quarterback making his start. And like I said, man, I wasn't aware he was making that start until, like I said, we had finished the pre-record, and then the news comes out. But honestly, I don't want to knock too much about Lamar the pass game in this because it wasn't required. The defense was so dominant. They had 4 sacks this game, 3 interceptions, double-digit tackles for loss. I know they only had 4 sacks, but they were all over DTR in that backfield all day long, man. There wasn't anything to get going there. On the other side, Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt, they combined for 14 carries and 38 yards. I mean, so it was just an all-around the Browns just got overmatched on both sides of the ball in this one. Lamar does go. He only has 19 pass attempts as well. 13 for 19, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. He does have the 2 touchdowns on the ground. Now, he did lose 2 fumbles in this game, which is always going to be a double-edged sword when you've got these athletic quarterbacks who love to run the ball. And so the fumbles are generally up with those style of players. Mark Andrews in this one, 5 for 80 and 2 touchdowns. So he has a very good day as well. But like I said, man, Cleveland was just flat out overmatched in this game. And like I said, man, once it was announced that Watson wasn't going to play, the odds are going to be extremely slim that Cleveland was going to pull this one out.
Absolutely. Which one that Willie Jack? Now, let's go to another team, man. Another team in that same division, man, that's struggling, man. They struggling to get it going. You know, they got experienced a little bit of bad luck with that too, man. Let's go Tennessee, man. Cincinnati went to Tennessee to take on the Titans, and the Titans put a whooping on the Cincinnati Bengals, man. 27-3. 27-3. What's your take on this one, Willie Jack?
Got you. And so this one, man, I called this one. Yeah. I called this one, man. If y'all tuned in, like I know y'all did on Sunday, Chop Willie in the morning. Y'all heard me call this one. Now, to my chagrin, like I said, I didn't pick it right in the pick 'em, but my heart was with you, Mike Vrabel, so I'm still claiming that. I'm taking that one, man. Tennessee just takes it to Cincinnati in this game. I'll give you the rundown for really quick here. Tannehill, 18 for 25, 240 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And it was the return again of King Derrick Henry, 22 for 122, long touchdown run. I think he broke 4 tackles on that touchdown run, and then scampered off. And then also had a passing touchdown in this game as well. The little Tebow jump pass is still working very well for Henry. He gets a touchdown there. Hop had a big catch in this game. His total yard is 4 for 63, but like I said, I think he had an impressive, like a 35, 40-yard catch on the right sideline as well. And then on the other side of this, man, Joe Burrow, the injuries and all that good stuff, be it as it may, he's on the field, so we're going to talk about it, man. 20 for 30, only 165 yards, and 1 fumble loss, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Jamar Chase, 7 for 73, and Joe Mixon, 14 for 67. And so, I mean, this – oh, okay. So I got caught my check. But no, this one for me, man. Shout out to Tennessee and Mike Vrabel. Some of the things I was talking about Sunday. This team coming off of a bad loss the week before, because I really thought that they would perform much better than they did. Was that against the Ravens? No, forgive me.
What you asking?
Well, I was trying to think of because the reason I picked Tennessee in this game, or at least on Chop Willie in the morning, the reason I picked Tennessee in this game is because just last week Tennessee they had a bad loss. I think it was Baltimore. I think Baltimore took it to Tennessee last week, and I really expected a bounce back performance from these Titans coming off such a one-sided loss in the week before. I'm so upset I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Baltimore, but anywho, so they come out and this game went kind of high. Well, maybe not as widespread a game, but I definitely thought Tennessee was going to come back.
It was the Browns. It was against the Browns.
Oh no, the Browns. There we go. That was Deshaun's big game. There you go. Yeah,
yeah
they had a terrible loss last week. Deshaun carved those guys up. Amari Cooper has a big day. He should have had 2 touchdowns. They took one away from him from a bogus whistle from a referee on the sideline there. And so yeah, but they totally got ran off the field last week against the Browns. And so I definitely expected them to come back with a vengeance. In this matchup against the Bengals, and especially a Bengals team that's struggling to find any form of footing. And that trend has continued for them. And so, so kudos to Mike Vrabel and those Titans, man. And man, yeah, I'm here for all the Titans and Mike Vrabel glory, man. I'm here for it unless they playing my dogs. But yeah, so I love to see that.
Gotcha, man. And yeah, man, like you said, man, we found Derrick Henry this game. We asked where he was, and he showed up. He said, "Hey, man, I'm here. I'm here. Anytime you ask for me, you're here." I know the year before, Willie Jack, he definitely asked for me because he told y'all, I ain't gonna remind him. My bad, Willie Jack. We passed it. My fault. I ain't gonna remind everybody. My bad. But you see, like, this is why Derrick Henry is the reason why this team can always have a successful offense. Okay, because when he's on, it changes things for this offense. Of course, you got to respect it. You know what I mean? Ain't no way you're not respecting 250-pound running back that that's had a 2,000-yard season and is successful as he's been over his career. You have to, so when he's doing it, man, when he's got it going, you have to respect it, which opens up a lot more for this particular team. It opens up the play action, and you talked about that pass, like it just does a lot for that particular team, and it's the opposite. Well, not necessarily the opposite because Joe Burrow is a QB, but when he's not on and with his injury and whatever we want to talk about, whatever we don't blame it on, but with Joe Burrow's situation, man, his situation, that changes a lot on this team as well because we know what they're going to do. And I told y'all what they're going to do. They're going to try to get the ball out of his hands very quick, minimize his moving, as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? But what Tennessee defense did was they say, all right, we know you're gonna stay here, so what this we're gonna do? We're gonna bring 5. We're gonna bring extra men a lot in this game, and they blitzed him a lot in this particular game, and we're gonna play tight coverage. Okay, so that means you're not gonna be able to make the quick read. So you're not gonna be able to just go through all your progressions because you got a guy coming and breathing down your neck. All right, which we seen 9 QB hits this entire game, 9 of them, man. That's a lot. 3 sacks in this particular game, and that also limits your big playmakers, man. T. Higgins. Jamar Chase, those guys can run routes and run intermediate routes, but that's not their game. Their game is downfield. They get downfield and they can open you up that way, and allow. And if Joe Burrow has the time, he can get the ball to them down the field. So if he can't do that, then that limits this offense a lot, and which is what we see, and it looks. And it leads to horrible performances by Joe Burrow. So this team is really, man, they're really struggling at this moment, man. And they're gonna have to find a way to get out of it. The good news.
And hold on, man, we got a good.
Huh?
Oh, I thought you was gonna talk. I was gonna say before. I didn't want you to move on yet. My fault. I didn't know if you were about to close it out. But I want to stop you real quick before you move to the next one, man. We got a good comment from ZB, man. So shout out to ZB, man. He said y'all want that game ball, man. Y'all got to pry from his fingers, man, because he ain't just gonna give it up. He raises a very good question, man. He says, at what point do the Bengals just give Burrow extended time off and essentially throw the towel in on this season? What you think that?
Who that sound like, Willie? Who that sound like before the season started, Willie? Who did that?
No, this is what Chop was saying as well. But let me tell you this. So, okay, so Chop's on board with that. Just go ahead, Chalk, and sit him down, man. Sit him down till week 8. Let that calf.
No. You asked me what I think, so I'm gonna finish telling you first before you. Okay, I see what you about to do before you try to go in. Hold on, please. Hold on. Pause for a second. So this is what I was saying about the calf injury in general was because when he suffered the calf injury in the preseason, the first thing for me was, man, these calves are tricky. They're very, very similar to hamstrings. If you strain a hamstring or pull a hamstring, or pull a calf muscle or strain your calf muscle, whatever the case. They're very similar in that sense. You have to let it fully heal. It has to heal 100% because at the moment you try to move quick or push off or do something like that, you can re-injure it, re-aggravate it, and then it's going to set you back even more time. You have to let that thing fully heal. So what I was saying was, in the very beginning, if he's not 100% week 1, let him sit. Let him sit until that thing is 100% ready to go, and then you can work. Then you ain't got to worry about it. You can go, and it is what it is. Instead, when I was hearing these stories, this guy ain't even had a practice. He only had 1 week of practice, man. 1 week. He ain't had a chance to practice. That means he ain't really got it going yet. His legs are not even ready or in football shape, for as much as a quarterback needs him to be in football shape to really go out there and play a full game. And what happens? That's what happens. And now you see the team that we see because of, everything that happened within this particular time. So that was my whole thing in general. Now you put yourself in a worse position because it's like, now it's, you won't have a choice. You got to leave them in now. Y'all 1-3. You're 1-3. The AFC is tough. We already talked about that. So you got to do what you got to do. The good news is every week that he gets through a full game uninjured, that's another week that it's healing. That's another week it's healing. Now I don't know what week their bye week is. You know what I'm saying? I look at the schedule, but I know they wish it was coming very, very soon. I know he wish he had that.
They need it yesterday. But they need that bye week yesterday. And so for me, man, like I said, hindsight notwithstanding, at this point, if you sit at this, he's on the field, you're telling yourself as a team, you're telling yourself as an organization, and you're telling yourself as a fan base that as long as he is on the field, we still have a chance to turn this around. And so I think at this point, the milk has kind of been spilled. Like Chop said, at this point, we're already here. And so, yeah, to sit him at this point, already 1-3 with him, you essentially are conceding this season. And so, I don't think it's necessarily at that point. Well, let me finish. Because what I'm saying is because realistically, they re-signed AJ McCarron, I think 2 weeks ago, to come in and help be a backup. And he had been with the Bengals. I want to say, okay, I know he was there quite a while ago, maybe 5-6 years ago. And I think he may have been there when Joe was first drafted. And then he went to the XFL and had some success there. They brought him back. I want to say it was like 2-3 weeks ago. You're not going to get more from AJ McCarron than we're getting from 70% Joe Burrow. I mean, honestly. And so at the bet, like the highest level of performance that we can anticipate realistically from AJ McCarron's may be maybe a hair. I mean, maybe it's comparable to what we're seeing from Joe, but I don't anticipate, and I don't know their schedule. I haven't seen the wins, but I'm thinking realistically, if we sit Joe, listen, what if it's going to take 4 weeks, a month to really let that calf, because they probably re-torn, re-aggravated, or they took one step forward, letting him sit preseason, and now that he's played in 4 weeks of the season, he's took 2 or even 3 steps back. So now let's say he needs another 4 weeks because he sat out the last 3-4 weeks of the preseason. And it wasn't enough to get that calf back to full strength then when the season started. And then they make the decision to go ahead and roll him out there. So if the 4 weeks wasn't good enough in the preseason where he didn't already have this additional wear and tear of the season on it, so what's that number look like? And then let's say if we get 4 weeks of AJ McCarron, realistically, optimistically, you want to split. If your backup quarterback has to be out for any extended period of time, the best you can hope for is your backup quarterback and in the team performance is to go 500. Go 500 till our guy gets back. So that's best case realistically. We're shooting for 500. More realistically, the way this offense as a whole is performing, the way that offensive line is still terrible, do they win one of those games out of 4? Do they go 0-4? And then if you go 0-4 or if you go 1-3 and now your record's 2-6, well, now do we even worry about bringing them back? You know what I mean? Because, or 2-7, like I said, they're already 1-3. So let's say if it's 0-4 with AJ McCarron, now we're 1-7, and now we've got healthy Joe Burrow. But now do we bring Joe Burrow back at 1-7? And so that's what I'm thinking. If you set him down, I think you set him for the year. I don't think at this point we can dabble, or we can't afford to dabble back and forth. Not realistically, unless AJ McCarron would come in and play out of his mind.
Yeah, the only reason I don't necessarily agree with that is because I just looked. They had a bye week in week 7. Okay, they got a bye week 7, and you know what? That's what I should have did. I should have looked at the schedule. Matter of fact, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull up the schedule. I'm gonna pull up their schedule. So they got a bye week in week 7. This week they got Arizona. Then they got Seattle. Two games I think are very winnable. Okay,
Goes on the road or at home?
They're at Arizona and they're at home versus Seattle.
Okay.
Arizona at home versus Seattle. Then they had a bye week, so they got 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Because he's playing on it at this moment, I don't think it takes a full 4 weeks for him to come back and ready to go. I think it takes less time than that. So if they did, now I'm with you, Willie Jack. I don't think they should. I think since they've already started, hey, you might as well let it go.
The milk is still at this point, honestly.
Yeah. You let it go, but I don't think you sit them for the season. I think you can still. I think they can still come away with one of these W's and out of these 2 games. You sit him, and then hopefully he's 100% coming back after that. In which you gonna need him 100% after that, because after that it's San Francisco and then Buffalo back to back. Those are 2 big time games. That's gonna be 2 crucial games at that point. But I wouldn't say that necessarily that their season will be over at that point. So that's
with the bye week. Go ahead.
And I'm gonna say the only thing with that is, and the reason why I say that they have a chance. So with McCarron wouldn't be, and this is huge. McCarron wouldn't be a sitting duck in the pocket. He won't be Joe Burrow when Joe Burrow's 100%. No, but he's not a sitting duck. Like, you don't have to limit the playbook because of an injury. You know what I'm saying? With Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow can't scramble. He can't slide and dodge, protect. He can't do any of those quick type of movements. That's why teams are, all right, we're going to send a house at you because we know you can't move. You can't get out of the pocket. If you get out of the pocket, it at least gives you an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So even if we don't get full, we don't get what Joe Burrow would do, I still think it makes teams kind of stay on their toes a little bit more on defense, because it's like, all right, we can't just do one thing and bank on it, and this is what it's going to be. That's the only reason I would say that. But I don't see them tanking at all. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. ZB said, go ahead, just chalk it. He said, go ahead, chalk the season, get that number 1 pick, and then get Marvin Harrison Jr. Out of Ohio State. And honestly, man, realistically, and that's the thing about tanking in the NFL. I don't think it's the players don't tank. You can't tank, because you trying not to go hard will get you killed or get you severely hurt, because the other guy crossing, you can bet your ass he's going hard. You know what I mean? And so players don't tank. Like, organizations may put like lesser talented teams together, but whoever is on the field, those guys are playing hard. We can see that Arizona is a prime example of that. You know what I mean? So I would imagine the Cardinals organization thought, you know what I'm saying, we'll put together a team so bad that we can't help but lock in this number one pick. But the players and Josh Dobbs and these guys said, "What the hell with that? We out here to play and we out here to fight and compete." Yeah. And so that's always why it's more difficult a conversation in the NFL. But I'm looking at some of these comments, man. Y'all really on this tank wave, man. Our dog Big Chef, he said, go ahead, trade Higgins. Now that's interesting. Is it time to start moving some of these pieces if this season is lost? Because T. Higgins is in a contract year. They didn't sign him. Yeah. So T. Higgins, I think, is up for a contract. I don't believe he signed. I don't think he was signing last year. So I think he is up for a contract. And so and Jamar Chase is also going to be up for a contract as well here pretty soon. And you just got done paying Joe Burrow as well. And so I don't know if realistically they'll be able to hold on to Higgins. And so now that's interesting. That's interesting as the trade deadline approaches, because there's still a team out there, a legit contender in Kansas City, that is still starving for some style of weapon on the outside. And a guy like T. Higgins, a guy like Mike Evans, who we've heard is the contract talks with the Bucs didn't go well. So those may be names to actually watch out for at the trade deadline as it approaches, especially if the Bengals continue this trend that we're seeing. Like I said, if they're 2-7 in this trade deadline week, and like I said, this season's in the tank, and we don't think we can re-sign Higgins anyway, then maybe he is a guy that may be on the move.
All right. Well, let me say this right now for everybody that's in panic mode for the Bengals, man. Y'all remember what Aaron Rodgers said a few years back, man? Relax. All right. I'm gonna say that for y'all right now. I'm gonna let y'all know this right now, because I've seen it too many times, and I know guys when I see them, and it's some guys over there on the Bengals team, man. Hey, let's slow down a little bit, man. It's we 4 games in. I know it seems crucial, and it is, But hey, y'all just relax yourself. Y'all just watch. When we get around week 9, week 10, we're gonna be singing a different song now. We're gonna be talking about, hey man, hey, they getting hot now. We're getting hot now. So hey, y'all just hang on there. Hang on there. All right. Well, Willie Jack, I'm gonna keep on pushing, man. I'm gonna get to this next game, man. We kind of stuck in on that one for a little while, man. We had the Los Angeles Rams. Oh, my bad. My Los Angeles Rams, man. They go to Indianapolis, man. And hey, man, I'm sorry. I ain't mean to go. Man, we got a pond right outside, man. We got a pond right outside our house. And in the summertime, I can't wait till this winter come. I ain't gonna lie to you, because these gnats be crazy, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. But anyway, Los Angeles Rams. Can you hear me?
No, my screen had froze for a second, and I didn't know if I was lost or not. But no, it buffered or whatever it needed to do.
Yeah, but the Los Angeles Rams, man, they go to Indianapolis to take on the Colts, and they come away with this W 29-23, man. 29-23, man. And I was excited about this win. And this is what happens when you keep balancing your offense, Sean McVay. I don't know if you heard me. I don't know if you was listening to me, but this is what happens when you keep balance with your offense, man. And it opens up, first and foremost, it makes Matthew Stafford better, okay? And I ain't gonna lie, Matthew Stafford this year, man, has been looking sharp, man. He's been looking sharp, been looking like the old Matthew Stafford. You can tell he's fully healthy. Now, he did get banged up a little bit in this game, but the throws that he made were all the throws that we need. We see him, he threw for 300 yards, but only a touchdown, but all of his throws were very, very key, on point, very, very accurate. Man, just had a phenomenal day, man. But when you have balance on your offense, man, we know our offensive line isn't one of the best. We know that. So with that being the case, you have to run the ball. You have to make teams respect the run. And if they respect the run, that opens up a little bit more play action. That also just buys more time for your quarterback. And that's what Stafford needs, because we've seen him under pressure. I've seen him even in the Super Bowl year when he was under pressure, man, do some silly things. So the one thing we need the most on this team is to make sure, by any means necessary, we make sure Stafford has time to go through his reads. And we've seen how he can manipulate defenses and look off safeties and do all the things that we need him to do and look like a top QB. He has top QB moments, you know what I'm saying? But we have to keep him free. So the Rams were able to do it in this particular game. And yeah, man, they get out to a good start. And on the other side of that, the Colts were quiet in the first half. They were quiet in the first half.
For sure.
And Anthony Richardson, wasn't on. He was making a couple mistakes. But then you started to see the special. You started to see those things come out. And it's not like he's just out there looking like a QB that can't throw. You know what I mean? He was making some accurate throws in this particular game. And he fought and willed his team back into victory. But that's what – not to victory, but back into this game. But that's what you want to see from your rookie. A guy that's not going to lay down, a guy that's not going to quit, and regardless of the situation, we're going to fight and get us back in this game. And they fought, and they got back in this game, man, and to the point where this game went to overtime, and it took for, Matthew Stafford to do what he did, and they get the game-winning touchdown drive by Puka Nacua, man. And what a way to get your first touchdown. Your first touchdown of the season is a game winner in overtime,
yeah,
to win the game, man. So shout out to Puka Nacua, man. Has been very good, during this time without Cooper Kupp. The Rams have been looking surprisingly a lot better than what a lot of people expected. And hey, man, don't be surprised. If we tick it up one more notch, because my boy Cooper Kupp, baby, he back at practice today, baby. That boy was back in action, man. So y'all better watch out, man. My Rams ain't going down without a fight, man. I'm gonna put that out there with y'all right now, though.
No, and honestly, man, and I'll echo that. And like I said, I won't take too much time on this one, man. But for me, like I said, the Rams come out and take full control of this game. It's 20-0 at halftime. And now the Colts had an opportunity to score late in the half. They miss a field goal, and then to return the favor, y'all get the ball right there on the spot, and then you guys go to kick a field goal as well before halftime. So, but you guys trade missed field goals right there to end the half. But speaking of Stafford, though, and I think you're right, he only throws the one touchdown in overtime when it mattered, and that right there has got to be inexcusable for the Colts defense, because the whole story of the Rams rejuvenation this season is a receiver named Pikachu. He can't be butt naked in the middle of the defense at the 2-yard line at the end of a 40-yard rope for Matt Stafford to put this game away. Like, Who else?
You know what they're gonna say? You know what they're gonna say, Willie Jack?
What's
And
that?
see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know what they're gonna, and nobody even talking about him as a top 5 receiver in the league right now. Everybody just think this is just a fluke or this just this. Nobody even talking about. But you know what they're gonna say, Willie Jack?
What?
Oh man, he in the slot. Oh, he doing this. Oh, he doing that. The same thing they used to say about Cooper Kupp. Man, that boy out there balling. Man, get that boy his respect. But go
Hey,
ahead.
I tell you what, Cooper Kupp starting to look a little less like one of them guys, and it's starting to look like if we plug the right guy in, we can get Cooper Kupp. Because I'm looking at Cooper Kupp. I'm looking at Cooper Kupp with a hell of a tan. Is what I'm looking at, and so
Cooper Kupp just would have had about 6 touchdowns. That's all. That's all.
Hey, look, I tell you what, man, it sound good, but I tell you what, he didn't have. He didn't have these many catches and yards his first 4 games of his Triple Crown season, and so Puka Nacua has trumped his production for that spectacular year we saw 2 years ago, that Super Bowl year, and Pookie, damn, almost had it too, boy. Damn, I almost had it, and I think I heard myself finna say it, and I panicked, and man, yeah, man, Pikachu is definitely doing this thing, man. And honestly, I thought he got in the paint before this, but not like you said, man. If this is his first touchdown, then what a bigger way. There's no bigger moment to get it, man. A game winner in overtime. On the road as well, man. And so that's a huge moment for him. But Stafford was dealing, man. He made some incredible throws this game. 27 for 40, 319 yards. Shout out to Kyron Williams again, man. This young stud here, 25 carries, 103 yards, 2 more touchdowns in that game. And then, like you said, man, talk about the tale of 2 halves. Kudos to that Colts team, Shane Steichen and that Eagles staff, getting Anthony Richardson in that offense in the locker room and kind of really finding a way to get that offense going in that second half. And so there was a couple huge moments, huge throws, huge deep throws as well in that game that really moved the ball. There was a huge throw at the right sideline to I can't remember who. Then there was a costly 15-yard penalty added to that really moved the Colts into scoring position, into the short red zone, and then they capitalize. They get the 2-point conversion as well. And so kudos to Steichen in that group as well. But 200 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns for Anthony Richardson, 50 yards on the ground, another rushing touchdown. He does have 2 fumbles lost in this one. And then I'll shout out Zach Moss as well, because we saw the reports that say that Jonathan Taylor is coming off the PUP list after this week, and so he will be eligible for practice. They're expecting him to resume practicing with the team, and so like I said, and what may or may not be Zach Moss's last start or his last heavy dose as the full-time, primary runner, he goes 18 for 70 in this game. And so, I'm curious to see how this is going to play out with Jonathan Taylor now being eligible to come back for this team.
Gotcha. I'm curious to see that too, Willie Jack. The good news. So I mean, or big news. I just want to see how this is gonna play out, man. I wasn't 100% expecting him to still be here at this point, but hey, we'll see. We'll see. And what's going on? What you got, man? Like you put
no, and you know what? I'm glad Big Chef. I was just posting some of the comments, man, because I know we got to move on. So I know I didn't figure we can address all of them. So I wanted to post them and still let the people speak. You know how we do, man. You know how we do. I still want y'all to speak, man. But Big Chef, man, he put out I saw this stat as well. It's a good comment from our dog Big Chef. Stafford has been the quarterback for the 3 record-breaking receivers. So Calvin Johnson, Cooper Kupp, and then I guess I guess if we're gonna include your boy Pikachu to this point, but it's like I guess the 2 most prolific passing seasons were both quarterbacks or receivers receiving passes from Cooper Kupp. Like I said, Calvin Johnson and Cooper Kupp, from Matt Stafford with those 2 guys. And then at the pace and trajectory that Pikachu is on right now, he would break both those records. Now, Kupp is coming back, and so we'll see. We'll really see like how his production is going forward. But no, that was an interesting stat that the Stafford's the guy that's found a way to get those guys, to get weapons to balls and to get guys involved in such a high clip. Man, y'all just gonna back out of that, man. But yeah, enough Rams talk. Y'all ain't on nothing yet. Yeah, we'll see in a couple weeks, man. But y'all look good.
Hey.
In seriousness, kudos to Sean McVay for having you guys in the position you guys are in now, because just like you said, nobody could have seen this coming. I really thought you guys are going to be a bottom 5 team this year as far as draft. I thought you guys were going to be a team picking in the top 5 of this draft, and because on paper I didn't see all the talent, the problems with the offensive line, the running game, etc. But kudos to Sean McVay.
I thought I seen my guy Miles in here, man. So hey, Willie, hey Miles, tell him what happens, man. What he get for thinking, man? He thought he farted, but he would.
Hey,
Put it in
that's
the chat
what it was.
Put it in the chat for him, Miles, man. Put it in the chat for him, man.
Oh yeah,
look, man,
I remember the rest. I remember the rest.
Okay, good. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you do. But anyway, we went through some of these games, man. We definitely gonna come back with the rest of the games. Of course, we still got to talk about, you know, the Thursday night preview. We got to go through the London game, you know, so we got to do that. But before we do that, man, we're gonna take a little bit of a break, man. Take a listen to my dog Willie Jack, man. He talking to you. He gonna talk to you.
Come
all
on.
right? So make sure you follow these instructions, man. We'll be right back.
Today's episode of Let the Film Speak, hosted by the wonderfully handsome and intelligent brothers of Let the Film Speak. That's Chop and your main man, Willie Jack. You feel me? Also brought to you by the Three Amigos. Y'all know them and you love them, man. That's the Three Amigos. That's like, that's share, that's subscribe. That's three the hard way. That's the 3-piece spicy. You cannot go wrong. Now, I say the same thing every week, so y'all can say it at home with me. I know y'all ready for it. Here we go. It's Three Amigos, but it's 4 parts to this process, big dog. First, you just got tapped in. Like my dog said, man, come in, tap in. Just say what's up, man. Just holler. Hey, what's up, Three Amigos, man? Like, share, subscribe. Hey, Chop, man. Willie, man, what's going on, man? It's cool. I sit on the couch. For sure. Y'all got something cold to drink? Oh, man, my man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, man, I'm a Broncos fan. That's all you got to do. That's it. That's easy. And Chop, come in, sit down, get comfortable, get a cool adult beverage, and let us know who you ride with, big dog. Then tell a friend. Like, man, it's a nice feeling here, ain't it? Man, it's cool, man. My homeboy was out. He was down. Man, it's cool. I can tell a friend. Tell a friend, man. And you know what? Even better than that, you can tell your friend to tell a friend. Guess what? There's more. You can tell your friend to bring his partner too. Bring one more because we need 4, man. Bring them up into the penthouse. Tapping with your dogs, man. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. You know we don't wear no watches. We ain't got nowhere else to be but in here kicking football flavor with the fam. And now back to the regularly scheduled program.
All right, and y'all heard my dog, man. Tell your partners, you know what I'm saying? And so if they ain't in here in the chat right now, I know y'all got a lot of trash to talk to y'all partners because I know y'all been coming up with y'all own predictions and telling them, hey, I'm telling you this was gonna happen Sunday. I'm telling you he gonna get off. I'm telling you he gonna do that. Bring them on in here, man, so we can talk about it, man. Put them on blast, tag them, do whatever y'all need to do, man. Like, share, subscribe, get them on in here, all right? And Willie Jack, let's go ahead and start it off, man. Let's start the second half of the show. We have Washington go to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, and the Eagles come away with this W in a close one, man. They win this one 34-31. Willie Jack, what was your take on this one?
No, exciting. This was a very good game, man, and especially there at the end. Let me go through the stats really quick here. Hurts, 25 for 37, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, another 30 on the ground. Swift held in check for what it feels like the first time since he's been the primary back. Only 56 yards on the ground, but does get in the end zone. Another big day for A.J. Brown, man. Since the now I can't remember what the game was, but since that game where he had a little spat with Jalen Hurts on the sideline, he's had consecutive very big weeks. He goes 9 for 175 and 2 touchdowns in this game. Devontae Smith still was a factor as well, 7 for 78. He had a very impressive high point catch in a heavy traffic down the field in this game as well. So great catch there. Kenneth Gainwell, man. 2 fumbles lost. He's all but been supplanted in this offense, what feels like completely by Swift and the production we've seen from him. He does get a couple looks in this game and gets some looks in this game. Puts the church's money on the floor 2 times. You can't drop the football twice, especially in a game like this that's as close as it was and one that goes to overtime. And then one to also shout out, man, linebacker on the Eagles, Nick Morrow. 3 sacks in this game, including a forced fumble. And so I know we got several members of Bird Gang in the building, man. Shout out to our dog, Day One Gang Jarrell. Definitely, I know he was excited to see his team pull this one out. On the other side of that, man, we had Sam Howell, 29 for 41, 290 yards and a touchdown in this one. Another 40 yards on the ground. Brian Robinson, 45 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Also had a fumble on the goal line that does end up getting recovered by the Commanders. So they do keep those points on the board. Scary Terry, 8 for 86 in the air. Curtis Samuel, 51 yards in the air, and I think he had a touchdown as well. And then Chase Young has a sack in this one also. And so, like I said, very interesting game. I want to say, I think the Eagles jumped out in this game like 17-0, I want to say I think
No,
the
no,
Eagles.
no.
Oh
Washington
no,
was a
Washington. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, Washington comes out and really kind of has it going, and they jump out early on this Eagles team, and then a credit to this Eagles team, a championship caliber team, where it's just a what it looks like when I see Jalen Hurts and just this Eagles team, and I'm not saying this on that necessary level or whatnot, but like when things are going bad for this Eagles team, because it hasn't been pretty so far this season. They've had a lot more turmoil or a lot more adversity kind of getting their own mojo back together, but none of these moments seem too big for them. Like they're always in full control, and they really, it's just a veteran championship team, and it really shows in games like this, where, like I said, man, you're down 17-0 to an offense that's actually moving the ball pretty well there, and like you said, you stop, you throw on the brakes, you stop, you get back on track, and then you battle back in this game. You come back, you take the lead in this game, and then now credit to Washington as well for tying this thing up, and then we get into overtime, and then where of course that Philly defense steps up, and then the Eagles get in position to kick the field goal and take this one on home. But no, very good and exciting game to watch, and like I said, man, credit to those Eagles for like I said, it hasn't been as pretty, but the results are still good. You know what I mean? Are still just as good. So they're still what? They're 4-0 or 4-0 this season, and I think one of two last undefeated teams in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the two of the last undefeated teams in the league, and just like you said, Willie Jack, I really didn't expect this to be that close of a game, and I got to get a kudos to Washington, man, because they came out in this game ready to fight. And I like to compare this one to boxing because it's one thing to see a boxing match where one guy, you could tell he's the superior guy, and the other guy just comes into the ring and he's just, he's trying to survive. He's trying to make it look good, you know what I'm saying, to where it's respectable, versus the guy that comes into the fight where he knows he's the underdog, and he's coming out and he's ready to throw blows. He's like, all right, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out swinging. You're gonna have to beat me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like you can tell this Washington team came out and was like, all right, y'all gonna have to beat us. And they came out swinging just like that, man. Howell was attacking this Eagles defense, almost 300 yards through the air, 40 on the ground. And, they just fought. They just fought. I thought this offensive line of the Eagles would be able to take more control of this game. But Washington's D-line said, hey, man, it's different. I know y'all just came from Tampa Bay, and they got a few guys over there, but this line different, man. We got two big-time paid players up the middle of this defense, and we got two dogs on the outside too, man. So pick your poison, but y'all ain't finna just run through us and just run the ball down our throat like y'all do everybody else. It's different over here. You know what I'm saying? They got to Hurts, 9 QB hits on Hurts. Now, I know Hurts is one of those quarterbacks that holds the ball a little bit longer, but, this is not an Eagles offensive line that gives up a lot of pressure like that. So this team definitely came to play, but just like you said, Willie Jack, it was A.J. Brown's game. A.J. Brown came and said, hey, I know what y'all got going down there in the trenches, but hey, I got me a puppy over here, man. I got young Emmanuel Forbes. Now, don't get me wrong. I did pick Emmanuel Forbes as my rookie of the year, but this one's different here, dog. This one's different. And A.J. Brown came and then showed him, like, hey, man, I'm about to take care of business. And you've seen him jaw-jacking a little bit, too.
Oh, yeah.
Emmanuel Forbes' competitiveness, man. I like his competitiveness, but, this was what? I'm glad. Remember, we actually talked about this, Willie Jack, because we talked about Emmanuel Forbes being 160, 170 pounds, and having to be in a division with a guy like A.J. Brown, 220 pounds, 6 foot 1 wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? We know you got good ball skills and so on and so forth, but, you got a big body guy that can, where it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? That's a 40, 50 pound difference. You know what I'm saying? So that was it. A.J. Brown turned out to win that matchup for sure, and took over that game, and hey, good teams find ways to win. That's what I like to say all the time. Good team find a way to win. So no matter how competitive it was, they end up doing their thing, man. So shout out to the Eagles, man. They come away with this W. And sometimes that's how divisional matchups are too. So shout out to the Eagles for coming away with the W in this one, Willie Jack.
Got you. And hold on, I'm in the chat real quick, man. I'm gonna toss a couple of these to you and get your thoughts on them.
Okay.
And so I'm answering my dog, man, Day One Gang Jarrell right now. I'm gonna put his question on the board. I wanted to clear who he was talking about here. And so he asked the question, he says, is he the real deal or is it too early to tell? He's asking about Sam Howell. And so, and I'll go ahead and give you my take on this one as well. And so I'm ready to say that he's the quarterback of the future. And so the thing about Sam Howell, which is crazy, the year before he came out, he had the hype and buzz. People were calling him that he was anticipated, but in some circles, draft circles, to be the first quarterback off the board the next year when he was going to come out. Well, then that next year is a rough year. A lot of the talent he had on that offensive line and in that offense, they go to the league. And so it's just a down year, and he just completely kind of falls off the radar. Doesn't get picked in a very weak quarterback class, mind you. He still doesn't get picked until I want to say it's the 4th or 5th round. Somebody may have to correct me there, but he showed some early flash with that last game or two of the season when they kind of let him get in and show something, and then Ron Rivera, this is a credit. I think we have to give credit to Ron Rivera and that front office for believing in what they saw in that small sample size, and I guess trusting their eyes in the things they've seen in practice and in his preparation and in those meeting rooms that the rest of us don't see, because they went into that next draft cycle and were adamant that no, we're not going QB here. We're going to take Sam Howell as our guy. And honestly, wasn't sure how, if that was just kind of coach speak, unless we get a chance to get another one of these young guys, and what was a pretty decent quarterback class coming in this year. And so, but no, they stood on that, and they really put their eggs in this Sam Howell basket, and I think they're getting a return on that investment. And so I really do like the combination that we've seen, him working with Eric Bieniemy, and really showing a lot of growth and a lot of potential in this offense. So I'm ready to say, yeah, man, I think he is their quarterback of the future. I think it's safe to say that to this point, I think he's in line to be a legitimate franchise quarterback, and he's a guy that, barring something strange or whatever, I would expect him to be there for the next foreseeable future. I'm seeing a second contract. I think he's going to be a guy that sees a second contract, and as a QB, that means he's a 10-year guy. So he's a franchise quarterback in my book from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I stand on the other side of that, Willie Jack. I'm not ready to say that just yet. Okay, I think next year is really going to be the year that we see if he's the real deal or not. Because right now, I think he's still making a lot of silly mistakes. Okay, well, I think what we're seeing now, to me, is with this entire team, I think we're seeing the exact same team, but just with a better offensive coordinator that's putting their team and their offense in a better position to succeed than we've seen in the years previous. Okay, so I like what he brings to the table. I like some of his skill set, but is he going to learn from a lot of the mistakes that he's making? Is he going to continue to develop? Is he going to continue to grow? That's going to be the biggest thing with him. And like I said, right now I'm seeing a lot of those silly mistakes. So honestly, I'm not ready to say it just yet. I'm not saying no, but I'm just not ready to say he is going to be the quarterback for the future just yet, because I think we still need to see more from him in terms of his development as a true NFL quarterback to help this team actually succeed. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to forget, like, this team, with Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke was a game or two away from, actually a game away from being that last wild card seed in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So this team has been competitive. They had a lot of pieces, but at this point they're 2-2. You know what I'm saying? So it's shaping up to be very, very similar to the team that they were last year. So I want to see a little bit more from him next year and see how that turns.
Well, hold on real quick. Now, one thing I would say is I think silly mistakes is a little strong. Now, he had one terrible game last week where he had the 4 turnovers in that game. The pressure, it was a young guy, like I said, trying too hard and like I said, and not handling, like I said, just being overmatched in that game. But outside that, I don't think he's making necessarily silly or just clueless or boneheaded mistakes like I'm seeing from my second-year quarterback in Kenny Pickett. You know what I mean? I'm not seeing those style mistakes. I'm seeing a guy that the difference that I think I see with Sam Howell and this team in this offense this year versus what you're saying last year is last year it was the defense and then 1 or 2 lucky plays from Tyler Heineke to Terry McLaurin, 1 or 2 lucky play or 1 or 2 like splash plays a game combined with that with the defense and that team kind of propelling that team forward and keeping them afloat. I don't see that. This isn't a team that's being driven by a stingy defense and then an offense that's got to do just enough or give us one big play to put us in a position to win. This is a team that I'm seeing that the offense, like Sam Howell, is actually leading and driving and dictating points for this team, and he's not being carried by these guys around him. So I think that would be the difference in kind of what I'm looking at. But no, I think, but no, and good point here by Dog Big Chef. And I didn't take this into account because he makes a very valid point. They're moving into new ownership. This is now Magic Johnson's Washington football team. I was remiss not to remind y'all of that. And so he's right. Magic Johnson is now the owner of this team. And so new owners, nobody wants to walk in when you buy a house. Chop, my dog, Chop. I'm sorry, I'm putting your personal business out. Chop just bought a house not too long ago, so shout out to my dog. Now, when my dog gets there, you can bet and believe he don't want to see none of the owners, the last owner shit in that house. He just bought this house. I want to strip down as naked as it can get, and I want to put everything in there that's mine. And so that our dog Big Chef makes a very good point there, man. When you got new ownership, they're probably gonna change a lot of that front office, and that's a perfect time for a new regime to come in and maybe change the coach and maybe bring in new, young, exciting talent. Or that's kind of the way we see these things go. So that's actually a very good point from our dog Big Chef, man. So I want to point that out.
Gotcha. I don't know, man. I ain't ready to see it just yet. I mean, so we'll see. But on to the next one, Willie Jack. Let's go to New Orleans, man, where we had Tampa Bay go to New Orleans to take on the Saints, man. And Tampa Bay came away with this W, man. 26-9. You want to take Big Bake, man? Is that what you want to do? Is that
Big Bake? I mean, I'm gonna still call him Big Bake, man. He got the dub. Now he did throw. I'll give you this stats, man. 25 for 32, 246 yards. He had 3 touchdowns in this game. He does throw the interception there. This is probably. It feels like this is the first kind of big game that I feel like I've seen from Chris Godwin in a while. So he goes 8 for 114. He doesn't get in the end zone. In the battle or the matchup of Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore, relatively quiet day from Mike Evans. 3 catches, 40 yards. He did have I want to say it was a roughly 15, 18-yard catch on the left sideline that looked like it might have got a little dicey there. It's a little extra shoving or whatever kind of in the end zone. And also, man, I wanted to shout out Vita Vea after getting his damn lunch took last week on national television. Jason Kelsey picking you up and setting you where he wanted to, all 360 pounds of your ass now. 2 sacks and a forced fumble in this game. And so definitely has a bounce back performance for himself. On the other side of this one, man, the Saints. I don't know what to say about these Saints. Preseason, I think they were the team that we both predicted to win this division. Now, not necessarily. No, they've got seeing them get spanked or seeing them lose this way to Tampa Bay at home, so now you get a chance to get that lick back, but now you got to go to Tampa Bay to get it. And so that makes that task just that much harder. And honestly, I have more faith in the good that I've seen from Tampa Bay. I feel like it trumps any of the good that I've seen from New Orleans or offensively, because this New Orleans offense hasn't really got much of anything going.
They haven't scored over 20 points yet this season. At this point, they put up 9. This is terrible.
Exactly. And they've got weapons there. You've got Suave Olave. You got a young Rasheen Shaheen, and you still got you still got Michael Thomas with that's work. And then Alvin Kamara comes back in this game as well. But Derek Carr goes 23 for 37 for 127 yards, and then 1 fumble loss in this game. 37 pass attempts for 127 yards. Terrible. That is. I was going to do the quick math here. Is that 3 yards an attempt? I mean, that is got to be as disastrous a line as you can have as far as that goes there. Alvin Kamara in his first game back from the suspension, he goes 11 carries, 51 yards, another 30. He had 13 receptions in this game for a grand total of 33 yards. Great. And so, I mean, there's no offensive cohesion. There's no explosiveness. They just haven't found anything that works offensively, and they're really paying a price for it here. Olave has one catch in this game for 4 yards on 5 targets. You know what I mean? And so now some of that, I don't want to take it all away for Tampa Bay and Ty Bowles and that defense, because that defense definitely showed up ready to play. What could have or probably would have been a touchdown on a lot of other Sundays on a very beautiful thrown pass from Derek Carr to Olave in the back of the end zone. Antoine Winfield that is a spectacular play. And it's a deflection. It wasn't an interception, but he loses them. Olave's got 2 steps. And Olave is a legit 4-3, 1 or 2 guy coming out of Ohio State. Antoine Winfield, and I love Antoine Winfield coming out. He's not a blazer. To make up the distance, kind of close that distance, and then like full layout extend and get that arm up and bat that ball away. That was a fantastic play. And plays like that kind of don't necessarily get shouted out because it didn't result in it wasn't a forced fumble, it wasn't an interception, it was just a pass deflection on the stat sheet. But that was actually a very incredible play. So I wanted to shout him out when I saw that. But no, man, kudos and credit to Ty Bowles and this Tampa Bay team. Kudos and credit to Big Baker Mayfield, man, for really kind of making chicken salad out of chicken, you know what? Because going into this season, they were another team that if you asked me, I would have thought this may be a team that's also going to be picking in the top 5 with the Rams. And so I'm 0 for 2. because both these teams are showing to be competitive and showing that no, they're going to go out here and they're gonna boys aren't going to sleep on them. You're not just going to show up and walk through here. No, we can legitimately come in and compete with most all teams, and we can make the plays to win this game. And so kudos and credit to Tampa Bay, man. That's a big divisional road win for sure, man. That's a massive win.
Yeah, that's a big win for them. And I'm glad you brought up New Orleans offense and the fact that how many pass attempts Derek Carr had for the amount of yards that he threw for, because I felt like in this game when I was watching, I was trying to feel like, what is going on with this offense? You know what I mean? The first game, it's like, all right, cool. All right, everybody had games like that. Then it's the second game, it's like, all right, come on, y'all. All right, they'll get it going the third game. The third game. And then the fourth game, it's like, game after game after game, this team is not getting their offense going. They're not flowing. And when I watched it, I said, man, this team is a little too conservative. Like, I saw multiple third down and longs, and for those who know, third down and 7 or more, where Derek Carr was taking a check down or taking the short crossing route that on a guy that's double covered, you know what I'm saying, hoping that he makes a play. It's 3rd and 9. You threw a 3-yard out with 2 guys over there waiting to make the tackle. Like there's certain things you shouldn't do. And it wasn't like he was getting pressure. He wasn't getting pressure on these plays. When you go back and look at him, he had time. It's just he's settling for these plays that won't get you anywhere. You need first downs. You need to push the ball down the field. This offense is closed. It's closed because they aren't able to push the ball. And I'm sorry. And yes, I'm about to say it too, Willie Jack. And you already mentioned Michael Thomas' name, man. But I think it's about time to start letting these young guys shine, man. Letting these young guys shine. I watched Michael Thomas, man, and it looks like every throw to him is right now it's a 4-yard, 5-yard, 6 yards. You know what I'm saying? Those are completions. Now he's getting a lot of first downs, but right now the offense can't do much. You know what I'm saying? So let this young guy Rashid Shaheed shine, and you come in and be the third receiver. Now it used to work because you used to be able to break a lot of tackles, and Sean Payton used to put you in a lot of different positions for you to be successful and be that receiver that you were when you had 140 catches and 1,700 yards. You know what I'm saying? You were their receiver, but you're not their receiver anymore. So, hey, it's about time we open up this offense a little bit more, because as of right now, it's not looking too good. So if everything is short, and the only deep person we got to worry about is Chris Olave, every once in a while, oh, man, we can just condense this defense and throw anything short, and we coming up and making a tackle. And that's what Tampa Bay was able to do against this New Orleans offense. They weren't able to do anything. And for Tampa Bay, man, they getting it done. Like you said, big road win, go in New Orleans house. And New Orleans actually been owning Tampa Bay for the last few years, even when Tom Brady was playing at the top of his game.
Definitely.
And they came out and Baker Mayfield just said, "Hey,
oh yeah, I know. Go ahead. You wanted to say it? I know you wanted to say it. I heard Big Bake finna come. I heard you finna say Big Bake. Go ahead, Big Bake. It's all right, man. It's all good. Go ahead, Big Bake, man. It'll feel better when you go ahead. It'll feel better. Go ahead, Big Bake, man. You right?
No, I ain't there, Willie Jack.
You ain't there just yet. Oh, we're gonna make you a believer soon. And then last thing, man, Big Chef, he's backing up kind of what you said about Michael Thomas. He's only a possession guy, and this one I'm gonna tell you, he was always only a possession guy. I was never really on the Michael Thomas wave myself. So 140 catches, and I don't know how many of them. I don't know if the ball traveled more than 6 yards on more than 30 of those passes. 100 of those passes traveled 6 yards in the air. 3 and 4 step slants, and then him making it happen, getting 12 yards on those. So it was a lot of that, man. So I was never really a big Michael Thomas fan myself. But like I said, his production, especially that year, can't be denied.
Gotcha. On to the next one, Willie Jack. We got Minnesota. They went to Carolina to take on the Panthers, and Minnesota came away with their first W of the season. And I'm gonna be short and sweet with this one, Willie Jack. It was an ugly win. They still can't get out their own way. Crucial turnovers, in this one. And that first interception, I gotta say, it was just flat out terrible by Kirk Cousins, man. It was an out route. They in the red zone. They probably inside the 10. He throws it to the front pylon on the left side, and the guy was already sitting there waiting on the out route, and he caught it, and of course he took it for 6, man. The first interception was terrible. Ended up throwing 2 in this game, but because the Carolina offense and team is terrible too, they still find a way to win. A big fumble return by that defense of Minnesota late in that game to tie it, and then of course they get the game-winning touchdown thrown to Justin Jefferson, and that's the one consistent thing on this team is Justin Jefferson, because Justin Jefferson week in and week out, I mean, it's showing that he is one of the best in this business, man, and hey,
sure.
he's doing his thing. One shout out though, Willie Jack, and I'm gonna turn it over to you. Shout out Harrison Smith, man. Great game for Harrison Smith, and he was a huge reason in why Carolina was able to come away with the W in this game. 2 sacks in the very last drive for Carolina as they were driving downfield and actually close in position to actually win this game. But 2 huge sacks for him in that last drive to seal the deal. He had 3 sacks on the day. Mind you, this is a safety, by the way, and 14 total tackles, man. So big day for Harrison Smith, turning back the tables of time a little bit, man, and showing that he still got it a little bit, man. So Minnesota comes away with this W, and they win this with 21-13.
No, and exactly, and honestly, I was going to do the same thing, man. Definitely shout out to Hitman Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith, I was a huge Harrison Smith guy, man, a few years ago, especially when he was in his prime, and so definitely was and still, you know what I mean? Like the game is past, he's not it's a different class of guys at the top now, but I do like to see him play and produce and do well, and so I was going to shout him out as well, man. Like you said, 14 tackles total. 2 for loss, 3 sacks total, 2 of those in that critical drive, like you just said, and a forced fumble in this game. Justin Jefferson has 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Madison in this game, decent day for him, 17 for 95. And then shout out to our dog, man, Big Chef in the building, man. He said he's got a feeling about Cam Akers, man. He thinks Cam Akers is I guess maybe due to supplant or take a larger share or maybe be the guy that they kind of turn to. Maybe going forward, so he's saying go ahead and stash Cam Akers in your fantasy roster if you get the chance. But no, honestly, like I said, I think you covered all the fine points in this one. The pick 6, the early in to start this game as well. And so like you said, man, Carolina, honestly, and this is. If Andy Dalton plays this game for what we saw from Andy Dalton in his long start this year, they probably win this game. As ugly as this game was for Minnesota, especially ugly, like I said, you jump out and you it's a 14-point swing right out the door. So a goal line interception, you take 7 points off their board and put 7 on your own. And like I said, man, but like I said, these are the growing pains that you'll go through with a young rookie quarterback. And like I said, they do fall short at home, and Minnesota finds a way to thankfully finally get a win.
Gotcha. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cam Akers does end up being the lead back over there, especially with Kevin O'Connell being a former coach of the Rams when they drafted Cam Akers. So it wouldn't surprise me at all, and doesn't surprise me that they brought him over there. And lets me know that hey, Madison better get it together. Those fumbles and those lack of good performances, you keep those up. Yeah, Cam Akers is going to be that guy over there. So there you go.
And then shout out to ZB, man. He said Carolina wants to trade for a wide receiver 1. He's like, if only they had a guy like DJ Moore on the roster. And that's what's so funny because they had to trade away DJ Moore to get the young quarterback in Bryce Young. And now you've got Bryce Young there without a dynamic number 1 receiver to turn to. And so, like I said, man, it's one of those things where what do? You keep DJ Moore and no quarterback, or you give away DJ Moore and get a quarterback, and now you got a quarterback that doesn't have a young dynamic receiver to really kind of maybe bail him out and make things a little easier for him. So it's a fun little fact there.
And they need more than that, man. They need to fix that offensive line too.
No, that is well for sure.
Definitely got to do that, man. But on to this next one, Willie Jack, and I'm sorry, but we got to do it, man, because we got to touch every game.
Come on with it. I'm ready for you.
I'm going to turn this one over to you first, man. We had Pittsburgh going to Houston to take on the Texans, and Texans come away with the W 30-6. Tom Walker, man. I don't know if you're in the building, man. I know you was talking. I know he was talking big, heavy trash to you right next to you in the stands at the game, man. Talk to me about this one, Willie Jack.
And this is what's crazy about this game, right? The game ends up 30-6. The game was never really out of hand until that fourth quarter. Like it's 6-16. We're in the red zone. We're on the 12-yard line. We get a fourth down, and then on 4th and 1. It's a terrible play call. It's terrible execution. And then we turn over the ball on downs. We give momentum and everything back to Houston. They drive and score, and then they get another score later to kind of blow this lead out. But if we take the 3 there, it's a 16-9 ball game. It's a 1-score game. Or like I said, if we can find a way to get the ball in the end zone there. I mean, so this game was really, as poorly as we played in this game, it didn't really ever get out of hand. Now, kudos to the Texans. they flat out were the better team though. Like, I mean, and I hate to say deserve to win or deserve to lose because I want to win any way I can get them. And so I don't want to say, well, we didn't deserve to win. Bullshit. I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take it. But Houston was the better prepared team, the better coach team. They executed better. They were flat out just great in this game. CJ Stroud finishes his day 16 for 30, 306 and 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins ends up winds up having a very big day. Like I said, now some of this is bolstered.
And he's been having a pretty good season
in the
so
late
far
game
too.
Oh no, he definitely is showing himself very well. 7 for 168 and 2 touchdowns. And then Damian Pierce has his first real success of the season as well. 24 for 81 in this game, and that's not at all a monster day. But he's I don't know if he's cracked 30 yards in the game prior to this week, so that's his best performance of the year as well. And then let me see here. Oh, now here's. I'm not going to bore y'all with all the details. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty for this. But one thing I do want to say about my Steelers here, Najee Harris, and it's 2 weeks in a row now that I feel like that I'm seeing that we've got to. Last week we had glimpses of success in the run game when we changed our run scheme from we're trying to be a move zone-based offensive line, and the guys we have blocking aren't really suited for that, and then Najee's not really suited for that. I need man-on-man blocking. I need duo blocks. I need blast. I need counters. I need power, a more power-based run scheme to really accentuate what Najee does best. Najee in this game goes 14 carries for 71 yards, has 100 yards total in the game. He also had one catch that went for 30 yards. He made a play. And
by the way, the most receiving yards on the day.
The leading receiver, bro. 1 reception for 32 yards, and he was the leading receiver on this day. Kenny Pickett, man, 15 for 23, 114 yards, and 1 interception. Terrible interception. And he's just not reading the field. It's predetermined throws. That interception, the big play we hit against the Raiders the week before, the deep post to Calvin Austin, he goes for that shot. They dial up that play to try to get something going. They're ready for it. Houston's ready for it. In a post-game interview, Steven Nelson, the guy who used to play for the Steelers years ago, he spoke in an interview about that interception. They were ready for the play. They see the same formation, the same lineup, and they see this. I mean, it's right there clear as day, and it's doubled. It's doubled the whole way. And Kenny, it doesn't matter. He's dropping back. He didn't look anywhere else, and he launches it, and we just give one away. And so, like I said, man, I don't know what we're gonna do here on my team, man. The free fall of Kenny Pickett's regression, it cannot be denied. There's problems and complaints with the offensive coordinator as well. And then as bad as the offensive coordinator is as bad as this scheme is, as predictable as just elementary as it is. Strangely enough, there are still plays out there to be made, and Kenny's just not even making those plays there. So it's getting to be scary hours, man, for my Steelers, especially offensively. And then on the other side of this is what's most disheartening about this game. The Texans had like 4 backups on their offensive line, and then I think 1 or 2 of their backups were third string guys. They were the third string guy, and they did a phenomenal job of protecting CJ Stroud for TJ Watt. And honestly, I can tell you, you can call running pass from the stands by whether or not 3 guys went to block TJ Watt or if TJ Watt was singled up. If he was singled up, it was going to be a run. And every pass play, I'm telling you, they dedicated at least 2 and a lot of times 3 guys to his side. And there was we could not get home. No sacks in this game, in a game that I really thought our defense would take advantage of such a what's the right word? In an offensive line that's in such bad shape. I lost my words there. And so, like I said, that was definitely very disheartening. But no, kudos to Houston. We were there in the building. Like I said, me and my dog Tom. They also inducted JJ Watt into the Ring of Honor. And so I was there on hand for that. And so to see that was actually a pretty cool experience as well. And also I didn't realize this is the first home game the Texans have won in like 2 seasons. And so this was I saw that stat, and I guess CJ Stroud was asked about that in a post-game interview, and he commented on it as well. They hadn't won a home game since 2021. And so it was a perfect storm for Houston. It's already going to be a high-intensity, highly emotional weekend for them. They're putting probably the greatest player in their young franchise history. You're putting them in your Ring of Honor. It was a perfect storm for them. And then honestly, man, on our side of it, man, we came out and just got it handed to us. And so Houston, kudos to you guys, 30-6, and really kind of taking it to us, man. I can't say nothing bad about it.
Gotcha. You pretty much summed that one up, so I ain't gonna pour it on you too bad, Willie Jack. But yeah, man, it's a lot of people just with questions about is it Pickett, is it the players on the offense, is it the offensive scheme, is it the OC? What is it with this offense that and the reason why they can't necessarily get going? And I think part of the reason why is I think y'all need Deontay Johnson back and in a hurry. He can't come off the IR quick enough just for the simple fact that he is the one guy that he can create that separation. He can get open. Kenny Pickett is not that guy. Not Kenny Pickett. George Pickens is not that guy.
In fairness, George Pickens was seeing a massive amount of double teams as well, man. So I mean, they had our number, but no, we definitely need DJ.
In which he should. You know what I'm saying? Because that's your biggest weapon. And even when he's covered, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people say he's open because of the spectacular catches he can make and his size and everything that he has. But when we need a 3rd and 5 and we need a guy to get open across the middle, you don't have your Deontay Johnson there anymore. You know what I'm saying? He's not there. And I mean, Najee Harris did have a solid game this game. You know what I'm saying? I've been one of the guys calling for Jaylen Warren, like, come on, man, let's get him going. But Najee Harris had a pretty good game. Like you said, I want to see more from that Steelers defensive line. But you gotta give credit to this Houston team, man. They came out ready to go. That defense has been fired up each and every week and ready to go for them. D'Amico Ryans has had this. You can tell he's had his imprint on that particular defense. And CJ Stroud, man, another game with no turnovers. Didn't have a spectacular day in terms of completion percentage and things like that, but another 300-yard game and they got the job done. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, they came away with the W, man. So shout out to Houston, man. They on the board. They come away with a big W. So they come away with that one. So on to the next one, Willie Jack. We had the Las Vegas Raiders go to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers, man. And I'll start this one off, man. Aiden O'Connell, he gets his first start, man. First start. Jimmy G was a scratch in this game due to an injury. And what a bad game for you to get your first start, man. What a bad game to get your first start because Khalil Mack was on fire, man. He was on fire. 6 sacks in this game, man. And you know how many he has on the season?
6.
6. So I'm going to tell you right now, Willie Jack, he is the best defensive end in the league, man. So all that stuff TJ Watt did, man, those first 3 games, man, Khalil Mack did it in 1 game, man. What you talking about, man? Khalil Mack the best of the business, man. I better stop playing with him. No, I'm just playing. But hey, man, huge game by Khalil Mack. You know what I'm saying? A huge part in the reason why they got this victory. And with the game that O'Connell had, I felt like this was the perfect game for the Los Angeles Chargers to blow them out. All 24 points that the Los Angeles scored in this game was in the first half. They didn't score not nail point in the second half, and they almost blew this game. They almost blew it. Almost blew this game again. Herbert had a huge interception. You know what I'm saying? That put the Raiders in position and got them going. You know, to start putting up some points. You know, but the defense sealed the deal for them. And at the end of the game, Herbert put together a drive. But the Chargers. I feel like the Chargers, especially with all the expectations and us expecting them to be at least a good team, you got to come in here and blow this team out, man. You got to come in here and blow them out. And I know it feels like, a lot of us have been riding the Chargers and riding Herbert and these guys, but it's like we keep seeing signs week after week after week of, you're not necessarily putting your foot on people's neck and just doing what we expect you to do. 6 sacks and those turnovers, they didn't. You scored 24 points in the first half. The score was 24 to I think 7 at half or something like that. You didn't score not a point in the second half against the Raiders defense. This is not a top defense. This is the Raiders defense, man. So
it made my Steelers offense look like they got something going. That's how good that defense is.
Man, I expected more from them, man, and they just. I really don't know what to expect, man. I really don't know what to expect from this team. Yeah, and then you get, of course, we already talked about Mike Williams being out for the season. Hopefully, they get a bye week now. Hopefully, with Austin Eckler coming back, that adds a little bit more to this offense. But hey, Chargers, man, y'all still gonna have to step it up. Y'all still got some more to do to show that you're really ready to compete with some of those big boys in the AFC.
No, exactly right, man. If you're a Chargers fan, shout out to our dog Ike, man. Ike Turner, where you at, man? But or Isaiah, man, shout out to you, bro. He's our resident Chargers fan, and he goes hard behind those Chargers, boy. Let me tell you. But not if you are a Chargers fan. I mean, they're 2-2, but you can't feel good about where you are. I mean, you're 500, so you're still right there in the thick of it. You're one game back of Kansas City now, and then you still you don't have any smoke coming from Las Vegas, at least not this time. You already handled your head to head, and then Denver doesn't scare you at all. And so, like I said, at this point in the season, you definitely would feel a little better. But I see a Minnesota game that Minnesota gives away on the 4-yard line, or on the 8-yard line, whatever that was, shout out to Kirk Cousins. And then I see a game like this in which, I mean, yeah, you win, but just like Chop said, this is a game that you really could have. This could have been a springboard game for you.
Yeah.
This could have been a game that you really kind of got your mojo back, ran it up a little bit, get guys going, and instead you don't. I mean, you get the job done. It's hard to complain about a win. You know what I mean? And so a win is a win is a win. I really do believe that. But just like my dog Chop said, Herbert goes 13 for 24, 167 yards, a touchdown, and a terrible interception. Now he does rush for 2 touchdowns in this game as well. Keenan Allen, a quiet day, 32 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Palmer making his first start to replace Mike Williams. He's the leading receiver on the day, 3 catches for 77 yards. And then you do have a massive day for Khalil Mack. And if y'all was paying attention on Chopping Willie in the morning on Sunday, your dog might have told y'all that this would be a good week to look for. Well, I thought Bosa. I thought Bosa was. Did Bosa play in that game? I can't remember if Bosa played or not, but this is a game that I talked about that I was expecting that we do see the pass rush from the Chargers show up because of how poor the Raiders' offensive line was just a week ago against my Steelers, and just seeing, like I said, how bad that line looked. I mentioned that this could be a game we see some Chargers pass rush show up.
I'll say this, Willie Jack. I hope he didn't play because that boy.
I hope he didn't either.
He ain't even on the stat sheet.
Like I said, I hope you're right. I hope he didn't play. But I was anticipating that the Chargers pass rush was going to show up and look a little better in this day, and especially with Aiden O'Connell being the starter in this game, I was expecting that defense to have themselves a pretty decent day. But now that, not to say that any of us saw Khalil Mack going off for 6 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. But yeah, man. So definitely a big day there for him in that defense. I mean, as far as everything else, man, I'll shout out Max Crosby. He had 2 sacks in this game as well. Devontae 8 for 75. And then Josh Jacobs 58 yards on the ground in a rushing touchdown. Also had 80 yards in the air in this one. But no, like I said, you're happy about the win if you're the Chargers, but honestly, man, they left a lot wanting. If I'm a fan of theirs, I'm still left with a lot wanting because I want to see us be a team that looks to be able to dominate. When it's time to dominate, what should be considered a team that was in position to be dominant. Like, I want to see us like have that killer instinct, take that step, and really kind of put it to a team that shouldn't be matching us on the field. Like this game shouldn't at all have been as close as it was, especially like my dog Chop say, you go up 24-0 in it or 24-7 in that first half, and then you don't score a point the rest of the game. I mean, so just the way that game unfolded.
Gotcha, Willie Jack. All right, man. So on to the next one. Let's go to this New England at Dallas game, man. And Dallas comes away with the W in this one, 38-3. What's your take on this one, dog?
Oh man,
I got you.
No, you good. But no, this one right here, man. New England, and I can't believe it's really came to this point. And I know somebody kind of asked the question or something like that as far as Bill Belichick possibly being on the hot seat, etc. And then, but after this game, I was seeing legitimate calls or people really talking about it's time to remove Bill Belichick from this team. And I don't see how we get there. Now, Mac Jones, I think his time is up. 12 for 21, 150 yards, 2 interceptions, loses the fumble. We see Bradley Zappi make a return in this game. He goes 4 for 9 for 57 yards. Man, and Zeke's return home to Dallas. I was hoping that Zeke would at least get a heavy workload in this game to maybe see if he can have some type of juice or spark against his old team. Like I said, I'm always a fan of players getting to have a day against their old teams. Non-factor here, 6 for 16. Stevenson doesn't do much of anything more. I think he has 14 for 30 some odd yards in this game as well. Now, on the other side for Dallas, Dak goes 28 for 34, 260 yards and a touchdown. TP, man, Tony Pollard, he goes 11 for 47, Lamb 36 yards and a touchdown. And so nobody really lights it up. Now, did want to shout out, before I throw it to you real quick here, did want to shout out to Ryan Bland, who has 2 interceptions in this game and does have the interception. One of those he does take back to the crib for a touchdown. And then on the other side of this game, the news from this Patriots team, they're down probably two of the better players on that defense. Probably, I know for sure, and Matt Judon, a defensive captain and one of the leaders of this team for sure, out for the season on IR. And then also Christian Gonzalez, your young rookie stud who had been playing damn well to this point in the season. We just shouted him out last episode, I feel like. Either last episode or maybe last Wednesday's show.
It was the last show we talked about and how good he was looking.
Okay, yeah, he was looking damn good and putting up some pretty impressive coverage numbers against an assortment of
premier talent,
like premier receivers, and he was playing damn well. And you lose him for the rest of the season as well. So, like I said, probably the 2 best players on that defense, both gone now for the rest of the season. And like I said, it doesn't look like there's any brighter days coming on the offensive side of the ball with the way Mac Jones and Bradley Zappi, I guess by extension, is looking. There's just no weapons. There's no weapons on this offense. It's just an offense devoid of anyone who can threaten the defense to score. And so, I mean, when that's what you're dealing with, I mean, I don't think this is a Bill Belichick problem. It's a talent problem, but I don't think this is a Belichick problem. I guess to answer that question for me, I don't think you can't fire Bill Belichick. I don't give a damn what nobody say, man. You can't fire Bill Belichick. This isn't the Bill problem. The talent is bare there.
So I in terms of this game, Willie Jack, and in terms of what we're seeing, okay, I feel like I think Bill Belichick has a lot to do with the personnel that they've added, and some of the moves they decided to. I'm pretty confident in that, and I'm just watching the moves they made, how quick they made it to go get J.C. Jackson and bring him back over. Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I meant to touch on that during the Chargers game. That J.C. Jackson is gone now, in which they couldn't figure him out, whatever the case may be.
He was a healthy scratch 2 weeks ago anyway.
Right. So in my opinion, I don't think they can figure out how to use him. I think it's some other stuff with that. And then New England brings him back. I'm pretty sure Bill Belichick is going to know how to use him. But here's my thing with that is we've watched this offense since actually even with Tom Brady the very last year, and we watched him year over year slowly lose weapons. And then we watch a move like this be made and how quickly they bring over a guy to try to help out this defense. It seems like I'm starting to feel like they need a little bit of new blood over there. Not that they fire Bill Belichick, but more so they come to a mutual agreement to say, all right, it's time to shake things up a little bit. It's time for a new face, you know what I'm saying, and over here. Bill Belichick, go ahead and retire, man. Going on into the sunset. You've had a wonderful and great career, but with just some of the moves, it's more so like, all right, come on, man, I need to do something about this offense. That's the thing. We know you can coach up a defense, but this offense has lacked weapons for years now. Even having Jacoby Myers as your number one last year. Now you go get a Juju Smith-Schuster, who we all knew who he was. Like, and then you consistently try this recipe of let's go get this old veteran guy and try to bring him over. You know what I'm saying? You tried that multiple times. Like, it's time to shake things up and change the way you do things a little bit. So for me, that's more of the thing. It's not the X's and O's with Bill. It's more so the personnel and what they're doing outside personnel wise to try to be a good football team versus, all right, man, let's just try to shake this thing up and let's get some actual good players in here on both sides of the ball and not just try to stack our defense. So for me, that may be the reason why I want to see somebody new over here with New England. But yeah, I like you said, Willie Jack, I don't think they fire him. I think it's like, all right, let's part ways, or he resigns. So it says he resigns, like the Allen Johnson or was it Allen Robinson did as a defensive coordinator for the Bears. So,
nah, got you.
Absolutely. All right, Willie Jack. On to the next one, man. We had Arizona going to San Francisco to take on the 49ers, man. And this one, I felt like it was coming. It was due. We've seen Arizona be competitive in each and every game that they play. You know what I'm saying? But I felt like, hey, this is the one team. they gonna come prepared. Anybody else may take you a little bit lightly. This is why you see them upset a team like the Dallas Cowboys, but the San Francisco team was a different breed, man. They came in ready to play, and they handled business from start to finish. Of course, and it's more like the same. More like the same, man. Brock Purdy, a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. Man, Mr. Two Tubs is back here. That's it. Mr. Two Tubs is just doing his thing. Christian McCaffrey, man, just doing what he does, man. 100
Yes, sir.
yards, 70 in the air, man. It's like 150 yards for scrimmage every week in this Shanahan offense, man. He's hard to guard, especially if you're going against your team like Arizona. They just came out and did what they're supposed to do. I'm not going to talk too much about this game. This San Francisco 49ers team did what they're supposed to do against one of the bottom teams in this league, and that's just what it was.
Well, and now one thing I'll say, man, I don't want to go too hard. I don't want to say Arizona's one of the bottom teams in this league, man, because this is a team that's definitely competitive. I mean, now in fairness, they're 1-3, but I mean, well, okay. And fair, I mean, okay, the record is what it. You're as good as your record says. Okay, now, that's fair. But I guess in my mind, like they're not like when you tell me the bottom teams in this league, I immediately think the Giants. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Arizona. When you tell me just the trash of the league, I think the New York Giants. But I don't think them. But in fairness, they are 1-3. But this is the team that battles and tries to compete.
You talking about the team that beat them? You talking about the team that beat them, right?
Yeah, no, but that don't matter because they still trash. And I was more impressed. They trash. They were down 20-0. They came back and won that game. But when you say bottom of the league, my mind jumps to the Giants and it doesn't jump to the Cardinals. And you're right, they did win that. They ended up winning that game head to head.
Arizona was up. Arizona was the team up in that game, by the way.
No, they weren't. That's what I'm saying. It was a 20-0 game. It was 20-0 halftime when they go into that first half before they come out, and then the Giants, like I said, the Giants come back and win that game. But I still feel better about the Cardinals than I do about that Giants team for sure.
But so you're giving out participation trophies. That's what it sounds like to me.
I mean, hey, they both 1-3. If they're racing the 5 wins, who you think's gonna win? If you had to bet money on which one I'm gonna get the 5 wins first, I'm probably gonna take Josh Dobbs in the Cardinals. I can't put no money on them.
They play hard. You're right. You got a heart. That's all that means. They play hard.
But no, man, I won't stay too long on this one as well, man. So the well-oiled machines, man, the San Francisco 49ers, whatever you want to call them, man, they handle business as expected. Brock Purdy's 20 for 21 on the day. Chop gave you the rest of those. Man, shout out to C, man, best in the business. Y'all stop playing with your dog. And if you was listening to Chop Willie on the morning, did a little of these, that was my performer of the week. I told you 100. I think word for word, I told Chop expect at least 150 combined, and I said 3 touchdowns. And I actually said I almost gave him 4 touchdowns, but I said, you know what? I'm a chill. I'm only giving 3. And what's he do? He got 4 touchdowns anyway. So, yeah, 3 on the ground, another one in the air, like 180 or damn near 180 combined yards for scrimmage. Big day for Brandon Ayuk as well, man. 6 catches for 148 yards. And so definitely want to shout them out. But I mean, just clear and simple as put, man, just San Francisco overmatched in this one, going against probably the most complete team in the league right now.
Absolutely. All right, Willie Jack, let's get on about that, man. We don't need to stay on that team long. Let's go on to this next one. We had KC on Sunday Night Football, man. Go to New York to take on the Jets. Kansas City ends up pulling this one out, man. 23-20. What happened in this one, Willie Jack?
Oh, my fault. Oh, man. Talk about a tale of two halves in this one as well. So Kansas City comes out in this game, and then, man, I was gonna say something to be funny, but man, Taylor Swift in the building, and then what? We go come right out the gate. We get Travis Kelce the ball, so you know what I'm saying. Booth ain't blowing the kids from the press box or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying. We came out. It don't matter what the look was gonna be, Chop. It don't matter if they gave Travis Kelce that Calvin Johnson punt return coverage. The first pass was going to Travis Kelce, man. It had to happen. But Patty, rough day for Patrick Mahomes now. 18 for 30, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, throws the 2 interceptions. And then he does also add 50 yards on the ground, loses a fumble on this game as well. And then part of that 50-yard on the ground was the scramble to seal this game. Scrambles, maybe could have took a chance of getting in the end zone, but plays it by the book, slides after the first down so they can run out the clock instead of wanting to stuff or make his fantasy owners happy there. Big day for Isaiah Pacheco, man. 20 for 115 and a touchdown, broke a long 50-yard run or so. It adds another 40 yards in the air as well. Kelsey finishes day six catches for 60 yards. And Chris Jones, like I said, man, still chasing that extra money they gave him. 2 games back, 2 sacks back. And so gets another sack in this one. And then now shout out. This is what I want to say about Zach Wilson, man. I do want to give him a shout out or give him some kudos. Now, he did make a critical mistake in this game, and so it can't be unsaid. But in our matter of fact, Big Chef, you still in the building. Big Chef is abandoning his Jets fandom. He's a Lions fan now. He wanted me to set the record straight. Big Chef is now a Lions fan. He then turned in his green and white. But we saw a massive step forward from Zach Wilson. 28 for 39, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Did lose a fumble in this game. But this second half, they had to have a couple things go right for him. It's 17-0. If I remember right, it's 17-0 in this game. They get a safety. They just crawled back. That defense was very stout and really kind of kept the lid on that on this Kansas City offense. Like I said, they're up 17-0 in that second quarter. But this game is 20-12 at halftime. And so, like I said, that's a credit and a kudos to that defense. Let me see. Oh, I wanted to shout out, speaking of that defense, I wanted to shout out Quincy Williams. Quentin Williams is a stud. We know Quentin Williams. He's a $100 million man. His little brother is a starting linebacker on his Jets team as well, and he had himself a big day or a pretty good day. I wanted to shout him out. Like I said, man, I feel like we don't talk. I'll be forgetting his little brother is on this team, let alone a starter. He has 13 tackles in this game, 2 for loss, 2 big pass deflections in this game as well. And, of course, man, I'm going to toss it back to you, Chop. The play of this game or the big controversy from this game, in this game, the Jets have rallied back now. They're rallying back. They're really getting in rank, going to give themselves a position to even close that gap. I can't remember what the score was at the time. I don't know if they would have been in a position to, I think, take the lead at that point. But long story short, we get a defensive pass interference call against, or no, it was a defensive holding or illegal touching call.
It was 2020. It was a tie game.
Okay, yeah, there we go, yeah. And so we get this call against Sauce Gardner on the opposite side of the field, on the up the right sideline. Meanwhile, on the left sideline or wherever it was an interception by Patrick Mahomes that gets wiped off the board because of a late flag at that. A late flag on the other side of the field for I guess, yeah, it would have been illegal contact because the ball wasn't thrown his way. And so I was curious to see, I guess, your thoughts on that. I hated that call. I really did because, and I don't even want to make it situational because a penalty is a penalty. I mean, and I know sometimes guys say, well, you can't throw that flag at that time. Well, no, I don't necessarily agree with that because a penalty is a penalty. You know what I mean? But this is one where I don't know if we give too much credit to we know the league gives too much credit to the offense because what I'm trying to say, Sauce Gardner has a right to his spot on the field as well. And so there is a little bit incidental contact, but I don't know. I didn't like the call. And of course, and like I said, he didn't throw the flag until the interception happened on the other side. And so that's another thing about that rubs a lot of people the wrong way is because, okay, if that's a penalty and you felt like that, then why wasn't the flag already on the ground, big dog? Why would the yellow should have already been on the ground? Don't let the ball get intercepted. You know what I'm saying? And then, oh shit, let me dig. No, bring that back because that's how. I mean, I just don't like how the timing of it and how it played out. And then, of course, now I'm not one of these guys that wants to tell you that the league is scripted or whatnot. But I don't know, man. We got Taylor Swift in the building. You can't see Love a Man lose in New York City in the Big Apple where you got Taylor Swift on the camera every other play. If there wasn't an active play, I felt like I was looking at Taylor Swift. And so, and so that's always disheartening. But I like to say, I personally hated the call. I don't know where you land on that call, man. Good flag or
I where I land on it on an actual play, I think it was a penalty. The one thing I noticed with Sauce Gardner, first of all, Sauce Gardner is handsy. Okay, I don't know if people really realize that he gets away with a little bit, but he was handsy. But I think what they called was the hand across the shoulder. So if Sauce Gardner is on this side of his body, playing on this side, and the hand is all on this side of the shoulder. I think that's what they call. It wasn't too bad because he didn't hold him long. He did. I don't think he did too much with it. But to me, and the reason why I understand it is because this reminds me, and I forgot who I heard who brought this point up, but it reminded me of a ticky-tack foul in basketball. Okay, a ticky-tack foul going up in basketball. It's like, okay, let's say I'm going up for a layup, right? If I'm going up for a layup, let's say you skin my arm, all right? You skin my arm. If I'm a ref, it's like, I'm not going to call it if you make the layup because of how soft the foul was. I'm not going to call it. But if somehow it throws your motion off to where you miss this layup, it feel like I got to call it. I got to call it. And I've had that happen to me playing in a few different basketball leagues. So I understand that. It's like, all right, I see the penalty. It is a penalty, but because it's not such a egregious penalty, if it doesn't affect the play, if they get the first down, cool. We're just gonna let it ride. We're not gonna add. We're not gonna add on to the call. But if he does an interception, it's a penalty. I'm gonna call it. You know what I'm saying? So
that's exactly my problem with it because you can't make the referees can't be subjective on when they think it's fair to call the penalty. So if it's a penalty, I want it called right now when it happens. And that's the thing about it. Like I didn't want it called. And you make a good analogy with the basketball foul, but the only thing I would say about this is as well is like imagine an off-ball foul being called on the other side of the court while you know what I'm saying while you airballed at the rim, and then we call an off-ball foul 40 feet away after you airball at the rim or after you turn the ball after the ball foot into the crowd, and then we like, man, we look around like, what's going on? Oh man, we had a foul back there at half court, big dog. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. But it don't even get called until the ball goes off your foot. Like that. That's how it felt to me. Like if it's gonna be a penalty, then call it and get it when it's good. I hated the timing of it because the flag doesn't come out until the interception is made. Like I don't think it could be that subjective and be considered fair. But like I said, if it, I do agree with you. The hand was on the opposite shoulder, but that's why I didn't necessarily like the call because, like you said, it felt very ticky-tack. He didn't change or affect him, and he didn't tug. It wasn't that. He did get the hand there for a short while, and then it comes back, but they have some little contact, and it's like, well, what do you want to do when we get body to body? When you know what I'm saying, there's going to be a point where you're running into my chest, and I'm trying to hold my place, and I want to force you to the sideline anyway. And I mean, like I felt like it was a position where it felt like a football play. Like I think that was just contact during a football play versus a penalty. And then especially, like I said, I hate to see that style call. Like I said, man, you know, have the effect it did on the Jets' chances of winning that game.
Gotcha. And I completely understand that, Willie Jack. I ain't mad at it. I understand, you know, the way that you feel on it. I'm just saying that I understand it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been on both sides of it and understand the way. So I'm with you there. But overall in this game, this is one of Pat Mahomes' rough ones, man. It's one of the rough ones, and I feel like if the New York Jets have Aaron Rodgers in this game they lose hands down. I think Aaron Rodgers come out and they takes care of business, and it's another reminder of that. Now Zach Wilson didn't play a bad game this game, you know what I'm saying, at all. He did have that crucial moment, that crucial fumble, you know what I'm saying, that helped, you know, put Kansas City in position, and you know. I think that was a big part in them not having that extra opportunity to put up points because they had that fumble. So that was huge in that moment. But again, man, KC found a way to get it done. They found a way to get it done. They get those 3 points, even though they didn't score at all in the second half to that point. Mm-hmm. They find a way to get it done, and New York Jets got to figure out something. And here's the other part too. I talked about earlier with Denver and an experienced coach. And regardless if they're down, they're still sticking to the game plan and having that balance. The Jets lost all balance. They lost all balance in this game. I know Breece Hall is coming off an injury, but he ran the ball 6 total times. And then Dalvin Cook only had 5 rushes in this game. You got to be able to have balance, man. I don't care if they stopping it. You got to be able to provide the balance. You know what I mean? Your quarterback needs as much help as possible. You know what I'm saying? You don't just throw your guy out there in the fire and make him throw every single. You got to have balance regardless. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at with it, man. And I feel like they could have did a better job of that. And you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens moving forward with these two teams. That's another win for KC, man. They after the first week loss, they sitting at 3-1 now.
No, and here's a question for you as well, man. From what we saw in this game from Zach Wilson, man, like I definitely think, and it's easy to say he took a big step forward because the bar was so low from what we've seen from him before. So this was, in my mind, a tremendous step forward in just his level of play. Seeing how he played today and them being in this game and having the chance to win this game, especially like I said, once they got this thing tightened up going into halftime, and then on the other side of that, man, is there a chance that maybe if do you see that them maybe building on this performance of Zach Wilson and maybe clawing themselves back to competitiveness with him being the guy that's going to have the reins going forward? Like I said, Salah already came out. I don't know, it was last week or 2 weeks before. They're not bringing anybody in. Zach Wilson is going to be the guy that's going to lead this team going forward. There was a lot of speculation about guys they could bring in, but do you have any optimism that maybe these Jets find a way to maybe use this as a rallying point and maybe like I said, man, they're going to maybe fight and claw and maybe see if they can sniff around that 7 seed or something like that? What you think?
I mean, maybe, but losses like this, a lot of times they're more of a dagger than it is like a boost, because it's like you get so close, you fight so hard against one of the better teams, and it just takes so much out of you to have this game to them, and from their point of view, taken away from them because of a call. It took away their opportunity to win because of a call late in this game. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where it is for me. And I'm not ready to say Zach Wilson actually took a step forward, because I want to see it consistent first. I want to see him get better consistently, because if you start me all 16 games, I'm bound to have a good game, one of them. You know what I'm saying? Or a few of them.
Not necessarily.
A few of them.
Not necessarily now.
No, I don't know a quarterback that started all 16 games and had a bad game every single game ever played in the field. You're gonna have you're gonna find something where you're gonna have some success in a game.
We can find one.
You ain't gonna be able to find one, bro. You ain't gonna be able to find one.
You look at me over time, because I can give you some examples. You can definitely find one. We seen 16 games of Trent Dilfer. We just seen 16 games of Kyle Bowler. We just seen 16.
So you telling me in all 16 games he didn't have one good game?
Man, ass bags. Man, what are you gonna say by good? Because if you're just gonna say, oh, he threw 200 yards and 1 touchdown and no interception, we're gonna call it a good game. I mean, I guess we wish the definition of good. But
I'm saying on par with what you're saying from Zach Wilson. You say it was a step forward from Zach Wilson.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think that's what I'm saying. It's got to be a step forward, because 28 for 39, 245, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That is by 10 miles the cleanest or greatest performance that he's shown thus far. It has to be a step forward. My question for you, Willie,
my question for you: do you think he was going to have a throw an interception in every single game the rest of the year? Is that what you thought was going to happen?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't have put it past him. But the point of what I'm saying is, I'm not saying you have to throw an interception every game. Well, we over time, man. Let's go ahead and get to this next. Let's go ahead and get to this last one before we wrap it on Zach Wilson. Last thing I do want to say though is, the only reason I think that this could have been a point that maybe helps kind of get them some type of boost or whatever. And honestly, when you're in a struggling team, you're looking for anything that could be used as motivation, or anything to get you a spark. They get to go to their locker room and say, we had the Super Bowl defending champions on the ropes, if not for a BS call on the other side of the field, or that's their locker room's version of it. And so maybe that's why. And they actually had competent play from a guy who's shown to be completely incompetent at the position. And so that sounds like, for a team that's struggling and just looking for anything to grasp onto, I think those might be things that they can kind of tell themselves to try to give themselves a boost.
Absolutely. Yeah, they definitely tell themselves that for sure.
Yeah.
On to the last one, Willie Jack. This Monday night game, man, we had Seattle going to New York to take on the Giants. Seattle wins this one on the road, 24-3, in a terrible game, an absolute terrible game. And the first thing I want to say about this game, man, is a lot of people complain about the Thursday night games and how terrible they've been. Man, these Monday night games have been terrible. Okay,
who set these up, bro? Yeah, the matches have been terrible. Yeah,
including my team, the Rams in Cincinnati. That game was terrible too. Even though I like watching the Rams, that game was not a good game. You know what I'm saying, to watch.
It wasn't a prime time game at all. Yeah, no.
This Seattle and New York game was a terrible game. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember the other 2 games that was on Monday night. Oh yeah, they were having 2 at a time those other nights, man. So yeah, man, some terrible games, man. They need to do better with scheduling these, or flexing them out, doing whatever they need to do. I think we got a good grasp on who the entertaining teams will be going forward. So man, let's start flexing some of these games. I want to see some better performances.
No, for sure.
But ultimately, man, Seattle came out and they handled business, man. Seattle came out, they handled business against a team who me and Willie Jack both said we're going to underachieve this particular year, man. We're going to underachieve or achieve worse than what they were last year, just based off what they thought, what they thought they were going to be getting from Daniel Jones. And then Darren Waller, man. Darren Waller absolutely has not. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the offensive coordinator or how they're using him, but he's absolutely not shown up at all, throughout this season, not one bit. We came into the season thinking he was going to be the number one weapon. He was going to use him a lot, and my dog and Zach Becker in the building, man. ZB, I like the name you guys gave him too, Willie Jack. ZB in the building, man. He was very, very high on Darren Waller going into this fantasy season, man.
Okay.
He really wanted on all his teams. I know he's probably super upset with him right now. You know what I'm saying? And the way that he's been performing, but just this Giants, these Giants team needs to get together. And I'm pretty sure Saquon was sitting on the sideline like, yeah.
Oh, he didn't want no parts of that.
Yeah, I told you. Y'all went and paid this guy $40 million. You'll see what he get you when I ain't there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so
the same thing he gave you when he's there. What you mean?
The
same thing he got you when you was there.
No, that's false.
Yeah,
they absolutely trashed this year. They went to the playoffs last year. But anyway, Willie, that could be a long one too. But man, anyway, Seattle came in, they took care of business, man. They won this game 24-3. Even them though, they didn't have like a spectacular offensive performance, man. But they end up taking care of the business, man. They won this 24-3.
No, the story of this game was Seattle's defense, man. So, like I said, 24-3. Big Gino goes 13 for 20, 110 yards, 1 touchdown. Kenneth Walker III gets about 80 yards on the ground and a touchdown. DK has 30 yards and a touchdown in this game. But like I said, man, the defense definitely stole the show in this one. Actually, let me get started because in the first quarter, so we got Jamal Adams making his return to the lineup. His first game in literally 368 days. That's like a season and a half's worth of games or something like that that he's been out. His first game back, he starts out making a splash play. He missed a sack, but he blitzes. Last time he was on the field, he led this team in sacks with 9.5 as a safety. He has a chance early in this game at Daniel Jones and actually misses that sack. Daniel Jones is actually able to get away from him. And I can't remember if somebody cleaned up Daniel Jones or if he got away and got that ball off or ran and scrambled. But that was honestly a precursor to how the rest of this game was going. Seattle definitely dialed up the pressure, and guys were taking turns teeing off on Daniel Jones. They have, I can't remember if it was 10 or 11 sacks in this game, 2 interceptions as well. And shout out to rookie stud, man, Devon Witherspoon has a pick six on the goal line in this one as well, and takes it back 96 yards for a touchdown. But this defense, like I said, definitely had its way with that defense front and just made life a living hell for Daniel Jones, honestly, all night long. I did shout out Devin Witherspoon already, but 7 tackles, 2 for a loss, 2 sacks. 2 sacks himself. This is your starting corner. Now, he did move inside and play the slot in this game with the injury to I'm now forgetting who was out, but they moved him inside. And honestly, in his first action, lining up as the starting slot cornerback, I don't know if I want to move him back outside. He looks so good in the slot. I don't know if Pete and that defense is going to want to move him back outside because he could do so much more for you in the slot with his skill set.
And see, when we scouted him, Willie Jack, I think both me and you both said that anyway, because he was more so that guy that, I mean, he needs to be around the ball.
He's got to be a piece to move around. You can't just leave him on the island. Yeah,
you can't just leave him on the island. And he's a force in the run game. He comes up and he hits and he makes tackles. So I feel like he should have been there from jump, and not try to play him as strictly a cover guy on the outside, trying to cover these guys when his real strong suit is his ability to make plays where the ball is. So
exactly, put him in position to just be around the ball for sure. And so, and it definitely bore fruit. And then also, man, shout out to Bobby Wagner, man. OG Bobby Wags, man. 17 tackles in this game, 2 for loss, and also has two sacks in this game. It felt like everybody who lined up, anybody who got a sack got 2, it felt like. Like I said, like everybody made a return trip home, man. So it was like Oprah giving away cars, man. You get a sack. You get a sack. You know what? Come on in. You can have a sack too. You know what I mean? So they definitely teed off on that offensive line, and Daniel Jones definitely, man, had to take the brunt of all that punishment, man. And there again, man, the issues. I also had high hopes for Darren Waller in this offense as well, and so I was right there on board with you, ZB, man. I really thought that Darren Waller would have a greater effect on his offense, and I don't necessarily want to say the problem's him. I think there's just tons of problems on this team, starting with that front offensive line for sure. And then getting compounded by Daniel Jones, because that interception was just a poor interception. The one on the goal line, the pick six to Devon Witherspoon, is a bad throw. And it's not a throw that a $40 million quarterback should make, because he's sitting on it for one. And I can't even blame him for being a little gun shy. He threw it a little early because he wasn't necessarily pressured just yet, but he still makes the throw, and Devon Witherspoon is just sitting on it anyway. And so just a terrible throw from like I said, an experienced veteran, especially one who just signed for $40 million. So that was just an absolutely terrible throw on what was just a full all-out terrible night for the Giants.
Absolutely terrible night for them. So I'm gonna get on about it there, Willie Jack. And that is all your week 4 games, man. We went through all the week 4 games. Now it's on the week 5, Willie Jack. And we got a Thursday night game and we got a London game, man. And we're gonna jump through these really quick. I know we're running over a little bit late, y'all, so we're gonna jump into it. This Thursday night game, Thursday night, tomorrow night, we got Chicago going to Washington to take on the Commanders. I'm going Washington in this game. I think they are the more balanced and complete team. Like I said, man, I still think there's a lot going on with Chicago. I know that they, that offense had a much better showing this past week, but it's going to be different. You know what I'm saying? They still going against one of the better defensive lines in the league, and I think they're going to have their way. One thing that Justin Fields still does is he holds on to the ball a long time. And if you hold on to the ball a long time against this team and the offensive line that you have, it's going to be a lot of sacks, man. So I'm going to go ahead and predict it, man. 6 sacks in this game. 6 sacks in this game for the Washington defensive front, man. And they, they have their way on defense. And I think this Washington team, they come away with the W. I think Chicago still finds a way to get 13 points in this game, but I think Washington puts up 30 to what I say, 30-13. Yeah. 30. I'm sorry, give them 27. My bad. 27-13 final score of this game. I got Washington over Chicago.
No, and I'm gonna be short and sweet as well, man, on this one. These Thursday games, the trend of them being kind of messier, sloppier games, I expected to hold true. There's no reason why I wouldn't. I definitely think Washington does handle business at home. Like I said, man, it was a loss, but I think there was a lot. They're 2-2, and like I said, I know they're just coming off of a loss, but I still just think there's a lot to be excited for. If you're a fan of this Washington football team, and then they definitely get a very winnable game at home on a short week against a team who just came off of a devastating loss. But I'm going Washington 27-20, beating the Bears at home.
Absolutely, Willie Jack. And on to the London game, the 8:30 game in the morning, man. So you got to get up to watch this one, man. And actually, I think that the last week this game was on like ESPN Plus or something like that. So if you ain't got your subscriptions, man, y'all better go get the subscriptions if you want to watch this game. I won't be seeing it. I'm gonna watch the replay. I'm gonna get all the games after that. But in this London game, we got Jacksonville going. Well, they're not going to Buffalo. They're going to London. Jacksonville going to London to take on the Buffalo Bills. Neither team is at home. And I'm going Buffalo in this one, man. I'm going Buffalo. I like Jacksonville, man. I'm a big fan of Jacksonville. But at the same time, man, with the way this offense has been playing and the offense has been struggling, you're going against the number 1 defense in the league as of right now. They're hot. Josh Allen is starting to hit his stride. He's starting to do his thing. And I think it's going to be rough sledding for them, at 8:30 in the morning, when this game starts. And I think Jacksonville is going to have a little bit of trouble. I think that it's just too tall of a task for them to expect them to get their offense together against this Buffalo team. So give me Buffalo over Jacksonville in this London game. I'm going to go final score 30-17. 30-17 final score of this game.
No, I got you. The one thing that concerns me about this game, and now, of course, I'm taking Big Josh and Buffalo in this game for sure, but Jacksonville, they just played in London last week. They're going back, but Jacksonville, I think I've mentioned before, they've been to London more than any other team in this league. So it's a huge away game for most other teams, but if there's any team in the league that I guess can be considered, comfortable playing in London to paraphrase, or for just to a certain extent, it'd be Jacksonville. So I am a little wary of how the overseas travel, playing at 8:30 our time, how that may affect this Buffalo Bills team. And so because of that, I think that this could be a tighter game than maybe we anticipate, because Buffalo having to deal with that like those new factors going over there, playing at that time. Your body clock's completely destroyed. And so I think there's a chance that this one could be a game that maybe starts a little slower for Buffalo, but I still have them winning 27-17. Well, I guess I said a little closer. I think this is a game that maybe starts a little rocky for Buffalo as they kind of get their sea legs under them, so to say. They kind of get themselves kind of settled in and acclimated before the cream rises to the top and they take care of business. But I'm going 27-17 Buffalo.
Okay. All right. Well, and you know what, Willie Jack, you made a good point. Give Jacksonville 23. Give Jacksonville 23. They still gonna lose though. give them an extra 6 on that top.
I get you.
Give them an extra 6. I see you writing it down. So
I got you.
But look, man, that's it. That's all, man. We apologize. We went a little bit over tonight, man. But hey, man, y'all was in the chat rocking today, man. So we had to get through some of y'all comments. That's kind of why we started to, kind of calm it down a little bit later. I noticed that we changed a little bit of that. So we appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, talk to us. We talk back. But hey, Willie Jack, that's it. That's all, man.
Let's do it.
Wrap it up for it.
No, for sure, man. Just like my dog said, man, that is it and that is all, man. We have came, we saw, we conquered, man. So appreciate y'all in the chat, man, definitely keeping us going, man. It's a very fun, entertaining show for us, man. You guys were definitely very active and had tons of good comments in this one, man. Real quick, man, I hate to do it, but I think he had a big run from my dog, Big Chef, man. Our dog, William White, gave him a good push. But I think ZB, man, held on to that game ball this week, man. I gotta say so, man. I think ZB was able to fight off our dog, William White, man, Big Chef. He was able to fight off our dog, Day One Game Jarrell. I think he was able to fight off our dog, Miles, in the chat a little bit, man. And you know how I feel, man. To beat the champ, you got to beat the champ. You got to take it away from the champ. I can't give it to you. You got to take it from the champ. I think he did just enough to hold on to that game ball, man. So shout out to him. Real quick on this rundown, man, so we can get out of here and get you guys back to your families this Wednesday night. Shout out to our dog, Big Chef, man, William White, former Jets fan, now Lions fan. First one in the door, man. He was here early in the chat, like, hey, man, he's ready to get to it. Shout out to you, dog. Our dog, Day One Game Jarrell, was in the building for sure. One more time for our dog, Miles, man. The fam band was in the building. My mom, my sister, my auntie stopped through as well. I appreciate and love y'all. Man, our dog Miles, ZB, the game ball winner as well, man. He was in the building, and man, I tell y'all what, man, it just hit 9:30, and I ain't gonna hold y'all no longer. Say it with me at home, because you know what it's time to say. If I forgot to say your name, damn, my bad. But charge it to my head, and don't charge it to my heart, because you know we thinking about y'all, big dog. We love and appreciate all the support, man. Like my dog Chop said, man, the chat was rocking today, man. We love that, man. So the best thing about this show is the interaction we get with you guys, and so we really don't take that for granted. That's why we this show goes a little long, because we make it a point to try to make sure we let you guys' voices be heard. I try to post your comments if I can't reply to them, and then even if I do post them or reply to them, I try to put them on the screen as well, man. So others can see your thoughts as well, man. So appreciate and love all the support for sure. We will be back, man, Sunday. So tune in, man. Chop Willie in the morning, Sunday, 10 o'clock. Tune in to get your Sunday morning football fix with your dogs, man. Like I said, man, we do a little of this in there, man. So go ahead and check in with us, man, before you go ahead and finalize those Sunday morning fantasy football rosters. Also, do not forget, get your weekly pick'ems in. There's a game tomorrow night, so go ahead and get that game picked for the night if you need to. And then don't forget, man, those weekly pick'em things do lock at 5 minutes till kickoff. I'm tired of y'all reaching out to me, and everybody's like, man, Willie, man, you won't believe what happened, man. I couldn't get. Hey, man, I don't know what to tell you, big dog. Chop don't want to hear about none of that. Chop don't care about that. Get your picks in now. You got to 11:55. You know what I'm saying? So don't wait till 11:45 on Sunday to do your picks. That's your first problem. That's all I can tell you. But other than that, man, we'll keep it short and sweet tonight. Like I said, man, appreciate all the love and support for sure. Zach said he on y'all head, boy. Zach said y'all got him messed up. He going for 3 balls next week. Y'all stop playing with ZB, man. And just like that, we out, man. Sunday, 10 o'clock, be there, be square. Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. And just like that, peace and love. Y'all have a good night.
Peace.